Welcome in today on a Wednesday edition as the week spins fast. Gets past us after the shortened 4th of July holiday weekend. On a Wednesday, Brewers yesterday, not the outcome you wanted. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Brewers back at it again today. But 8-3, the final in that one last night. Early on, it looked pretty good. Rowdy Tellez going yard and Christian Yelich getting on base and taking on a steal, taking third, and then coming home. And you thought, boy, all is right with the world. And then the wheels kind of fell off. Jason Alexander, 8 hits, 7 runs, going 5 1/3, giving up a long ball, a couple of strikeouts, a couple of walks, but just had his troubles. And Suter came in, gave up a run as well, and that was pretty much it. But nevertheless, it was not the way the Brewers wanted to go when it came to last night at the Ball-Yard. Hopefully they get the win today. But this stretch of games that we felt so confident about in 10 games against, let's face it, really bad baseball teams, right now they're 3-3. Unless they sweep out, beat the Cubs and then sweep the Pirates at home, I'm going to be disappointed. Ben, in this 10-game stretch, if the Brewers at best go, say, 6-4 or 5-5, will that be a golden opportunity lost and be disappointing to say the very least?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're lucky a little bit that the Cardinals have scuffled a bit and are falling behind as you have also lost. But yeah, I mean, it still is tough. I still stick by this that you don't want Jason Alexander having to start any games, let alone division ones that you should be winning. But yeah, even with him on the mound, you should go better than 6-5.
Yeah, it's this is just one of those, and like you had mentioned, the Brewers are still 3 games up in the division because the Cardinals have now lost 3 straight. So the Brewers didn't lose any ground, but still, I mean, 3 games behind the Mets, 4 games behind the Dodgers for the win total in the National League, even though they do lead the division. It's not a bad way to go. The Twins lead their division with the same record. So their Central Division is 47 wins. The Astros at 53, and the Yankees just running away with everything at 58 wins, 58-23 in the season. But the Yankees have lost 2 straight even, so they've shown fallibility. But still, this portion of that schedule over the 10 games, we kept thinking, man, 8-2, 7-3 tops. Now they could still do that, and this conversation could change dramatically after the weekend. But as of right now, it's a little bit disappointing when you've had some golden opportunities that you just let fall by the wayside. So the Brewers are 1-1 with the Cubs. The rubber match today. You've got the Pirates then coming into town this weekend, and hopefully the Brewers can continue to win and get more than a few, we'll say, as a sweep over the Pirates would be fantastic. I guess as long as you continue to win series, it's good. You're still going to stay on top and eventually win your division, probably pretty much going away, but still, it's just not the baseball that you were hoping for as of right now. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, do it. If you want to get hold of us over on Twitter, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find us there. Follow me there. Follow Ben Kenny, Ben Z. Kenny, over on Twitter as well, at Ben Z. Kenny. You can find us on Facebook. Watch the program each and every day. You can respond. You can see some of the things that are posted as well. Follow us there, Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Over on YouTube, which you can subscribe for free. Go to YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Same thing on Twitch TV. You can email the program the old-fashioned way, which email overtook fax years ago. Email thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. You can also find us on the website, simply thebillmichaels.com. And don't forget, if you miss one or miss all hours of the Bill Michaels Show and you want to go back and listen, you can. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple iTunes. You can also find us on Google Podcasts as well. So not a great night last night for the Brewers by any stretch of the imagination. It was just, and again, it's one of those things where I'm sitting there. I was really looking forward to last night. The storms came, thunderstorming, games going on. Boy, I tell you what, I had to do a little panic last night. For the first time since I bought my home, I had a clogged gutter. And we all watch those gutter ads, clogged gutter, get off that ladder, Bill, whatever. Anyway, clogged gutter, and I had water come in my house last night, downstairs in the back of the liquor area behind the bar. So I was dealing with that a little bit last evening. But the thunderstorms coming down, I just wanted to sit in a bar, watch the game last night, and man, I was disappointed. Early on, I was thrilled. Rowdy Tellez, boy, I tell you what, he battled with Hendricks. He was kept fouling it off, and finally goes low and inside, which is kind of where Rowdy Tellez likes it, and almost like a excuse me golf shot. He launched one out of American Family Field last night to put the Brewers up early on in that contest. That was kind of it. After that, everything pretty much settled down, and the Brewers just watched it go by the wayside. So it wasn't awesome. 877-867-1671. Hit us up. Feel free. Go ahead and do it. 877-867-1670. This one's from Ronald. Says, what choice do you have to start Alexander? You have nothing better right now in the farm system. Ashby didn't look good. Peralta, who knows? I don't think they can wait until the trade deadline. That they need a starter. Yeah. I would agree at this point. Well, look at it this way. If you have to go with Alexander once every fifth day, it does put the onus on the starters to get wins prior to. I think we can all admit to that. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think you need to run out and make a deal for a big name starter. It'd be great if you got one. Don't get me wrong. But how much are you going to give up? And does that then take away any hope of getting an additional bat? Because I think now, you don't have a lot in the farm system, right? Okay, we can all agree upon that. So my question then becomes, if you are going to go after a bat or after a starter, how much are you going to give up? And in doing so, how much you're going to have left to make a deal for another player, right? Then, because we're sitting here now on July 6th, now it gets real. From here on out, All-Star break and such, now it gets real. You're a week away from the All-Star break, and now you're going to start thinking about, okay, when do you make a deal? When do you make a move? And if so, who are you making it for? I mean, if you had to have your druthers right now, Ronald, you'd probably say this team needs a starter, needs a starting pitcher, right? I think we can all agree on that. But the question then becomes, if the bats go silent or another injury or two, then what? How much you have left? I have a feeling this is the way it's going to go. There's going to be a couple of guys that maybe sub-tier that you're just looking for. This guy needs a change of scenery. This guy needs a little greener pasture, so to speak. And this guy is going to come over to the Brewers on a subpar deal that's not going to make anybody happy. And David Stearns is hoping to find a diamond in the rough, right? Can we all agree on that? I think that's what's going to happen. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I think that's the way this goes. Ben, do you see the Brewers making any kind of a big-time move?
No, I think it is unlikely.
And if they do, would it be a bat or would it be for a bat, or would it be for a pitcher?
I think it'd be for a pitcher, or at least I think it should be. I've been saying that for a little while, and part of that was I didn't know what Woodruff would look like. But just overall, I guess my argument is, if the bats go silent completely like they did last year, I think the team is screwed anyway. But right now, where it stands, if the bats are okay, I don't know if the starting pitching is deep enough and talented enough to carry them through a series, given the unknowns about the injuries. So that's why I would choose a pitcher if it was an either or, but I don't think it's likely.
Yeah, I don't think it's likely that they get a starter. Ronald says, I think they're going to be okay in regards to the bats. You do have some position players in the farm system ready right now that could help, but you might have to trade them away if you're going to get a starting pitcher. Anything that you feel of value right now you have in the minor league system, chances are at some point that name is going to come up in a trade deal. So you're going to have to find the value for that player for what you think is ready to go to the major leagues right now. And you're going to have to find a player of equal ilk or more to package them up with to then go out and get yourself a starting pitcher. That's my point. So you're going to deplete you're not just going to get a guy. You're going to deplete your farm system. I mean, we all know that. Darren says, I don't want to say it, but last night was the same as Bud resting his starters in the NBA, I believe, in council. But let's be honest, leaving Alexander into the sixth, also knowing that Box, Williams, and Hader were all getting the night off. It was a game that was the only way we were going to win, was to outright outslug them, which could be possibly true, knowing that you were depleted in the bullpen. Knowing you didn't have Hader, you knew that, because he threw the night before, he threw 20-something pitches, and the night before that, he threw 30-something. So you knew you weren't going to have Hader, and then obviously Williams and Boxberger weren't going to be available as well. I understand that, but I don't think I would have left Jason Alexander in going into the sixth. I would have pulled him after 5. 877-867-1670. I mean, you're right. That might have been one of those games where you just say, you know what, we're going to have to ride it out. Unfortunately, it came at the expense of the Chicago Cubs, not only a rival, but a team that's lesser than you, and you still could have beaten them. I don't know. To me, you got to beat bad teams. And this is an area, to me, of concern. Now, again, they can turn it around. You can come back and beat the Cubs today. You can then sweep or at least beat 2 out of 3 over the Pirates. That would put you at 6-4 for the 10-game stretch against sub-500 teams. But that's a game or two better is what you're hoping for in a stretch like that. I understand it's baseball. I get it. You know, you're going to get some wins you probably shouldn't. You're going to take some losses you probably shouldn't. I understand that. But again, you have a real opportunity here. You could be 4 games up in the division. You could be 4 games up in the division right now, still remaining with a game against the Cubs and 3 against the Pirates, and really extend that lead as then you take on the Twins and take on the Giants before closing out the unofficial first half of your season. And you'd have a golden opportunity. And they're kind of, it's kind of like when you should put your foot on the gas against bad teams to make sure you plow through that portion of the schedule. I don't know. It's a catch, I guess. Maybe I'm talking myself out of it. I think I am. 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Tonight is it. Got the Wisconsin State Fair Park opening back up again. It's Wednesday night live on the Budweiser Pavilion. Gates open up at 6. Music starts at 7. Going to be a fun time out there tonight. All brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Good music under the stars tonight. I think you got a shot at an afternoon shower, and that's about it. It's supposed to start getting nicer out. Weather looks to be, as far as temperatures and humidity goes, looks to be pretty good. Not a bad way to go at all. So it's going to be a good time tonight out at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Check it out, the Budweiser Pavilion tonight. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Hang in there. Going to get back into this discussion when we come back. A lot more to get to. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up, and it's coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hey, our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery. Good stuff up there in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting Chris and Jake today. They are in the area. They're out kind of promoting the wine, and the Moscato is on its way. I can't wait. And if you are out and about, stop in to any one of your local grocery stores, liquor stores, wine stores. Check out ForgottenFireWinery.com. Forgotten Fire Winery. It's right here in Wisconsin. Made by Wisconsinites, for Wisconsinites, and those that are beyond the border as well. It's a terrific wine. And while they have won awards, and I've talked about this time and again, they've won awards and went up against some of the big boys from Napa Valley. I mean, that's fine. But their big motto is fun in a bottle. They just want people to genuinely just enjoy the wine. And this is kind of wine season, if you will. You know, whether it's the whites or the reds, sitting out back, bonfires, all that kind of good stuff. Do it with a bottle from right here in Wisconsin. ForgottenFireWinery.com. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. See for yourself what it is I've been talking about. There's just good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. So, Ben, I was kind of going over some of the stuff that you were sending out a little bit earlier today. And you talk about the development of particular players, the fact that they're going kind of following up from yesterday, that this is the best offense because of depth that David Stearns has ever put together. And watching this team last night, I was thinking about that watching the game, that this is the best offense. And I kept thinking to myself, really? Is this the best offense? Do you the eyeball test? Did the eyeball test tell you this is the best offense?
It doesn't. No, it still says no. The ceiling just is not nearly as high as you want it.
That's what I keep thinking. When you look at this team, and we went through the statistics yesterday, that when you look at this team and you say, okay, you know, where are they in terms of, well, and I know batting average is not great. So you go by OPS and you're thinking, okay, OPS, you know, come on, man. They're what, 8th? 9th? They're 9th in OPS in all of Major League Baseball. It's not a bad way to go. Not a bad way to go. Philadelphia, by the way, is now percentage points better than the Brewers. Just an FYI, I wanted to throw your Phillies in there for the just the mix in case you had not seen that.
And in a playoff spot. if it somehow ended today.
If it ended today, yeah. And they have a better team batting average. If you just want to go back to old style statistics, they are 11th overall in Major League Baseball. The Brewers sitting steady at number 23 in Major League Baseball. However, the Brewers at number 4 when it comes to home runs. 4th best in Major League Baseball when it comes to home runs. And the Brewers not striking out nearly as prolific as they were early on in the season. They're still 5th overall, but they were number 2 for a while. They've been overtaken by Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Atlanta. The Angels are the top dog when it comes to a swing and misses. And when it comes to getting on base, taking the walk, the Brewers are 6th best in baseball. So what do we glean from that? Well, one is their extra base hits come via power. It's the long ball because they are 19th in doubles. 19th in doubles, which is probably more frequent than anything. 19th in doubles, 18th in triples, but yet they're 5th in home runs. They're top 5 in walks. So it's all or nothing. It's what it is. They're an all or nothing team. We get used to it. Their OPS, good, not great. Top 10, you'll take it. Batting average, getting on base percentage, not bad. It's not great, but they're right dead nuts in the middle. They're sitting at number 16 with on-base percentage at .315. But when you look at the numbers that matter, getting on base, going station to station, doubles, triples, moving runners over in that sense, that's not this team. This team is exactly what the eyeball test tells you it is. It is a team that every now and then gets somebody on via the walk or a base hit every now and then, boom, long ball. That's what they rely upon. Period. That's it. It's exactly, the old Denny Green pounding on the desk. They are who we thought they were. That's exactly the Brewers. They're a power hitting baseball team in a division that allows power. And off you go. That's it. But to say that they're one of the best numbers-wise team that David Stearns has ever put together offensively, no. I wouldn't go there, but that's what some of the numbers, some of the analytics will tell, which is the reason why. And I just gave you a bunch of numbers and said, well, trust them, here you go. But this is the reason why that the analytics can be so deceiving sometimes when you start to talk about these things. Because to the eyeball test, it's like, no, they don't get on regularly. They don't do a lot of the little things. They're a grip it and rip it baseball team, and they're winning. You can't argue with it. They're 47 wins on the season, 47-36, 11 games over 500, three games up in the division, 3rd best record in the National League. You can't argue with it. They're winning. For as much as it sucks and we think it sucks, they're winning. That's all they got to point to. Scoreboard. It is what it is. 877-867-1670, 867-1670. Let's see here. I'm not worried about growing our lead with these series. Would love to go 7-3, 8-2? Yes, but all I care about is winning series. Once you start worrying about the team right now and below you and what they're doing, that's when you start losing. Brentley, though, but you're going to look back at this and you're going to say there was a stretch of 10 games against teams that are really bad, and all you could do was muster a game above 500 maybe, or a 500 stretch when the team below you was losing. And you're going to look back at some of these games, like the game against Pittsburgh the other night, and when you lose 8-7 and you should have won that game, you're going to look back at those games and go, boy, if it comes down to a game or two at the end of the season, you're going to look back at some of these games and go, man, there was just some golden opportunities lost. You're right. If you worry about what the team behind you does, you're going to forget about your focus on what it is you're doing. I understand that. But you and I aren't players. You and I are not in that clubhouse. What you and I are doing, we're looking at a team that is on top of the division, that should be winning, that is, for all intents and purposes, a power-hitting baseball team playing at home, playing with decent pitching against a really piss-poor team. And right now, today, they got to scrap to win the series. Right? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Adam McCalvey, the writer for MLB.com and follows the Brewers, he said, after getting that big win on Monday with an 8-3 loss to the Cubs at American Family Field yesterday, it ended with infielder Mike Brousseau on the mound. It was a reminder that they're a good team, but by no means perfect. And as the MLB trade deadline is precisely now 4 weeks away, we have some conversations. But the way the calendar works, we're also working on the draft. So you've got that's from Brewers GM Matt Arnold right now. And it's that time of year when you start to wonder about potential moves, right? So will you go as far as pitching? Starting pitching was regarded as one of the team's strengths going into the season, but injuries have taken a bite out of the rotation. 4 starters have spent time on the IL so far. Brandon Woodruff, Aaron Ashby returned to action on the road trip. Freddie Peralta, Adrian Hauser down right now. Those absences have meant starts for prospects Ethan Small, waiver claim Chichi Gonzalez, and Jason Alexander, a minor league pickup last winter, who had fared rather well since joining the Brewers' major league rotation on June 1st at Wrigley, but has stumbled on the rematch on Tuesday. And it's marked the first time that Alexander faced a team a second time. And the Cubs won that battle big time. Do you go out and get a bat? Saying the Brewers could use a bat is oversimplifying things. It wouldn't hurt to add a hitter or hitters who also possess a good glove. Now, the Brewers are 11th of 30 major league teams in defensive runs saved, but 21st in outs above average. And Fangraph's defense metric with negative 4.6, second baseman Colton Wong, a Gold Glove winner, is 267th out of 268 defenders rated by StatCast's outs above average metric at -9. And Luis Urias is 256th. So defensively, up the gut, not great. And you have to be strong up the gut. In center, Tyrone Taylor, Jonathan Davis, they've been starting ever since Lorenzo Cain was cut loose. And while they each have had some stellar moments, the Brewers center fielders are 27th of 30 teams in the F4 category. Not good. The Pirates, Brian Reynolds, Cubs, Ian Happ, Royals, Andrew Benintendi, Orioles, Anthony Santander, D-backs, David Peralta, A's, Ramon Laureano, I should say, are among the outfielders most discussed in trade rumors right now. Among infielders, Reds' Brandon Drury is controllable, attractive option right now, who unfortunately plays in the National League Central. You don't think you're going to get him. And the Nationals' DH Nelson Cruz is a good bat who unfortunately does not have any position to really play. So where do you go? Where do you go? 877-867-1670. Do any of those names draw interest? Do any of those names draw interest? 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next. I'll tell you what, leaving tomorrow after the program, and one of the things that I get requested for the most, I get requested for a lot of things when I go see my kids and some friends of mine and such that have been here to Wisconsin. But one of the things that they always ask me, they said, hey, can you do us a favor? Can you bring some Stenny's wings with you and a growler of Bloody Mary mix? Okay, I'll do it. The award-winning Bloody Mary mix and Stenny's wings, that's the most requested thing I get, and that's where everybody wants to go whenever they come to town. Stenny's, second and national, downtown Milwaukee in the Walker's Point area. They do run shuttles to Summerfest. They run shuttles to the Brewers games, Bucks games, Admirals games, Marquette games, Badger games, Packers games. They run them all over the place. But I'll tell you, they're known for their food. It's like the Cheers of Milwaukee, Milwaukee's best sports bar, but fantastic place. Stenny's, as they say, you should be here. Fantastic place to go. But I have tomorrow to stop down right after the show. I'll be on my way out of town. I got to pick up 120 wings and 2 growlers of Bloody Mary mix. That's a big request. Can't fly with that kind of stuff. You couldn't put those in your pockets and take them with you, Ben, when you fly back to Philly. But I'll tell you this, when the family comes to town, you got to get into Milwaukee and take them down to Stenny's. Just an FYI.
All right. Hey, I have a big car too. I mean, the trunk has space.
Yeah.
I'll do a drive back one time.
Where do you buy dry ice? Because I got to pack them in dry ice because a lot of people aren't even going to be up to get these things until Sunday. Where do you get dry ice?
I could not tell you.
If anybody knows, let me know. Where do you get dry ice? Because I got to pack these things in dry ice. I don't know. And I don't know if you can do it. And dry ice has to last for a couple of days. I mean, I've got really good cool. Did I tell you about the cooler story, by the way? One of the stupid things that happened to me.
From this weekend?
From Friday, yeah.
Oh, there's more?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Not a good story. Well, I mean, it's funny. But where do you get dry ice? That's what I want to know. No, have you seen those? Everybody knows Yeti, and Yetis are really good coolers. Don't get me wrong, but they're stupid expensive. And Arctics are incredible coolers, which are, in my opinion, just as good. And if you need to keep ice for more than say a month, then you've probably got a dead body in your freezer, and you're going to need a Yeti. But beyond that, I don't need one, not for that kind of money. But Igloo makes a cooler. This thing I've always said it looks like a Jeep. It's huge. It's really big. Has really big tires. It looks like a Jeep. It looks like it's got everything on it, but a steering wheel. It's huge. So I've been wanting one of those. And Kristen and I were in Dick's Sporting Goods, and we were looking at one, and it was $349 or $329. And I was going to buy it. And then she said, you know what? We're going to run across the street to Dunham's anyway. Maybe you can find last year's model. We'll get that. Okay, great. I can't pull it. It's not that I'm cheap, because I'm not, but there's certain things I can't pull the trigger on, and I just can't justify that. So we go over to Dunham's. Have you ever seen the TikToks that, they're like the mishaps, like you'll see a boat that's sunk and you hear that guy's voice that says, I know what's wrong with it. Can't find no gas in it. That thing. You ever see those?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh my God. You'll see these where cars are flipped on the side of the road and people are passing by, and, the family's out of it. Everybody's safe, but you'll hear that, oh, you can't park there. And then you'll hear that voice that comes on and goes, I know what's wrong with it. Can't find no gas in it, So anyway, I was showing Kristen these TikToks, and some of them are pretty funny. There's one where a guy's pulling his boat out of the water. It's coming up the boat ramp, and people are cracking up, and I'm like, what the hell? And at the very end of it, you see the drive cables, the steering cable, and the cables for the throttle and such. That's the only thing holding the engine on. The engine's like dragging behind it. This big, massive 350 horsepower Merc engine broke off the back of the boat, and it's literally just being drug up the boat ramp. And then you hear the voice say, I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. And it's pretty funny when you look at the whole thing together. So we went to Dunham's to look for these coolers. We went to Dunham's to look for other stuff too. We had to buy some life jackets and such for the kids. But we go to Dunham's, and I walked in, and they had this big 4th of July display, this really cool display. And they had some of these igloo coolers up front, not the ones I wanted, but big. And it's the ones, I have one of them already, but I thought, well, maybe I'll get another one of those. And then I thought, no, I want to go look at the big ones first, just to see how much they are here. Because if they're more than $300 here, I'm not going to buy one. So I go back, and they are stacked in the back where they keep the kayaks and everything. They're back in the shelving back there. The tires on these things are really thick, big, fat tires. And they barely fit on the shelf. Maybe out of maybe a 2.5, 3-inch tire wide, maybe a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of that tire actually fits on the shelf. That's how big these coolers are. They're really wide. So Kristen, I walk back. I'm like, it's like the Holy Grail. There's like 10 of them back there. I'm like, whoa, you know. So she's like, okay, you go look at your coolers. I'm going to go look at some other stuff. She was going to go look at some clothes for the kids. So I go walking back there, and I'm like, ooh, there's a blue one with white, kind of nautical. There's a brown one. Nah, I don't want the brown one. There's a gray one with a blue tie. Oh, that's not. Ooh, and I'm looking around, and I wanted to see what they cost. There was no price on them marked on the shelf. So I went to pull one down, and holy crap, they all came down. And they're hitting me in the head, on my foot. Bang. So all you hear in this store is this crash and me going, oh, because one hit me like right in the back. And I'm, oh, and now I'm kind of standing there, but bent over with my hands like forward in front of me on the shelf with all these crashed coolers around me. And as the silence begins to become deafening, because everybody in the store is now wondering what the hell just happened, all you hear from the middle of the store is this female voice yell, I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. So she basically just screwed me on a TikTok right there. And she comes around the corner with her phone, you know, getting me. And I'm laying in the middle of these coolers. And I'm cracking up at this point because I find that really, really funny. She doesn't crack many really good jokes, but that was actually really funny. And so I started to put these back up. And I put the first one up, the second one up, and I'm just barely touching them. And the third one goes up, and down they come again. And then this girl finally walks over and goes, can I help you? And I said, no. And then like a typical guy, I'm like, no, I got it, you know. And then finally I'm like, you know what? I don't have it. I'm going to put them here in the aisle. Somebody can come by and look at them and go. I never did buy one. I bought a smaller one. But after I crashed them all down, yeah. So if there's a scratch and dent sale at the Dunhams in Brookfield, you know why. Just want to let you know. By the way, Sam's Club sells dry ice. Air Gas sells dry ice. I'll have to take a look. Yeah, I need some dry ice to pack the food in. So I'll do that. There you go. Good stuff. So that was my story. So between falling out of the boat, peeing myself, and crashing coolers down around me, it was a hell of a weekend. There you go.
What did you not mess up this weekend?
Right? It's kind of becoming a colossal failure. I really, I really have to say. I'd have to admit that. Everything else, I think, turned out pretty good. Grilled out the other night. That was great. Had a good time. Sat on the back patio. Enjoyed myself. Was sitting on a rooftop patio. It was beautiful.
But then water went into the house. Yeah,
well, that was I think a lot of people might have got water last night. I will say this though, it did come in, but it goes right to the drain. It didn't really mess up anything other than just the smell of water, in the house. It's not like it got into the wood. It basically came down the cinder block wall and right over to the drain. So it wasn't terrible. It just got a couple of pieces of cardboard boxes and such wet, but that was it. It wasn't like it was bad or anything. So I can live with that. Mark says, look out though. It comes in threes. It does. I agree with that. I'm just waiting for the next thing to happen. You know what? I don't, knock on wood, I don't want to wait for the next thing to happen. Just saying. A source says, I'd be stunned if Washington and Oregon go to the Big Ten. The Big Ten will sit back for 2 years and try to get Notre Dame. Growing reality is the Ducks and Huskies have to, 1, make it work in the Pac-12, or 2, join the Big 12. My guess is 1 would be their preference. That's from John Wilner, who also covers the Pac-12 from the Pac-12 hotline, and he's syndicated on KSL and DP Post Sports and such, but saying that he believes that they are going to do everything they can to stick it out and not go to the Big Ten. We'll wait and see what actually happens there. I still think we're going to have more movement here in the next couple of weeks. He says that the Big Ten is going to wait now for 2 years to see if they can get Notre Dame. With all of these TV rights deals coming up, well, I shouldn't say all of them. ACC is not for years. The Big Ten and the SEC have redone their deals, but they could also then add more cachet if they brought Notre Dame and yet another team into the Big Ten. So we'll see, because there is some pressing time matters here. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? I've given you my epic failures over the last couple of days. Hopefully you've enjoyed them. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Want to make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. Over 100 winners every Thursday. For your chance to win, just play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. So go ahead, book that beach vacation, that up north cottage getaway, or make it a staycation to remember. Your summer just got even better. Only at Potawatomi.
I know you don't want to think about it, but eventually basketball season, hockey season, all going to be upon us. And if you're looking for season tickets, 2022, 2023 season tickets, or a game or a promotional night, check out our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals, MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Finally got their first playoff series win in quite some time, and they are trending upward and getting bigger and better talent. So I'm excited about their upcoming season. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. and enjoy some of the great hockey action in the AHL. MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Their parent team, the Nashville Predators, who continue to be pretty solid for the most part. So hopefully the Admirals back at it again this year, continue to produce some really talented players that end up in the NHL, but also make their quest for yet another playoff series win and a couple more after that. And who knows, maybe even a Calder Cup championship before it's all said and done. So there you go. MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Again, MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. So now we hear that the Big 12 is having serious talks with the Pac-12. As that world continues to spin, the Big 12 talking with the Pac-12, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, Oregon, Washington, and is determined to move quickly, according to those sources regarding the Athletic. They're trying to more efforts in aggressive new commissioner. They're trying to get themselves joined, so to speak, so they can get themselves a television rights deal, because they're about to run out, and they're trying to put it all together. But the Big 12 in deep discussions to add 6 teams to their conference. And again, it would be Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon, Utah, and Washington, if indeed they end up jumping. Basically, that would destroy the Pac-12 at that point. The Pac-12 would be left with their junk in their hand, and that would be it. Nothing left after that. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up again, 877-867-1670. Find us. But that would really, really, really destroy the Pac-12 for the most part. That would be it if that ended up happening. Pac-12 would basically just kind of go out of business, I think. Ben, would you agree? Pac-12, they lose those teams, they're done.
Out of legitimate business, definitely. They can go get Boise and, I don't know, name your Mountain West team. But then it'd just be the Mountain West, but rebranded a little bit.
Yeah, there's not much more to it after that.
I have seen some talks of some strategic alliance, and I say that with a smile because the last time one of these were made, they were obviously all walked back on whatever agreements. But with the ACC and Pac-12 somehow like meeting for a championship game somewhere and making some alliance scheduling wise between the two conferences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what that looked like though, because they did that with the Big Ten, and the Big Ten screwed them.
Hey, by the way, I just wanted to throw this out there. If you have not seen it yet, Ben sent it to me a little earlier, and I had to put it out there. That is the video coming off of the Simply Safe camera out in front of the house that has the family all gathered on the front lawn, and they're going to shoot off some fireworks, and the whole joint blows up. If you haven't seen it yet, not only is it one scary, but two, you're like, oh my God, and then you can't help but go, holy crap. And whether you laugh or you cry or you put your hand over your face, because there are kids involved, kids and people that are scrambling to get out of the way, but it has gone viral. I mean, viral. If you haven't seen it yet, follow me over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, and you can see the post that I put out there at Bill_Michaels. But yeah, it has gone crazy viral. Not my post, but just the post in general has gone crazy viral. And this family, whole group of neighborhood people, they're just out front. They're going to light up some fireworks, and they've got, I don't know, maybe 6 to 10 people, 4 or 5 adults and some kids all around there. And then there's about 3 adults that are getting ready to light this stuff. It's in a neighborhood. They've all gathered on the front lawn, and the fireworks blow up, and a spark flies over to the fireworks stash by the back of the car. The note to self, never put fireworks near the back of your car, and everything blows up. It's like I said, on one hand, you're like, oh my God, and you're kind of laughing. On the other hand, you're like, holy crap, is that scary? There, but for the grace of God, right? So go see that if you haven't seen it already. This is from Anthony, who says, again, we talk a lot about the Big 12 and the Pac-12. What does this mean for the Big 10? And specifically, what does it mean for Wisconsin? Absolutely blanking nothing. Well, no, it does. To a certain extent. For one, because the more teams you bring in, the bigger names you bring in, the bigger markets you bring in, the more money you bring in, which means there is a monetary effect, a trickle-down effect for Wisconsin. Now it's going to be split evenly, let's be honest. So it's going to benefit everybody. But when you talk about how does this benefit Wisconsin, that's how. That's how. So there is a benefit. Now, does it make the playing field more level, or does it make the playing field better for Wisconsin? You know what? I think it makes it level because high tide raises all ships. So everybody's going to get better. Everybody's going to have more money. Everybody's going to have better facilities and the capability for better recruiting and all that kind of stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, is it going to make Indiana better than Wisconsin? No, I think it still remains the same premise of being able to recruit, being able to now delve into the NIL pond, being able to set those deals up, being able to recruit high-quality talent and convince them to come to Madison. So does it benefit them? Yes, monetarily, but does it benefit them in, say, recruiting? Maybe, if you start to open up that market. If you open up that West Coast market, does the West Coast people begin to see what Wisconsin has to offer, the climate at Wisconsin, jump around at Wisconsin, Camp Randall Stadium? Do people say, man, that's a place I would like to go? Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 5. Who knows? But it could benefit them. I'm not saying here's a direct impact immediately, but that you don't want to poo-poo it if you're a Wisconsin fan. You know, you're just glad that you're one of the cornerstones that are the Big Ten, right? 1 hour down, 3 yet to go. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, despite the Brewers jumping out to an early lead at American Family Field last night, they would lose to the Chicago Cubs 8-3. Rowdy Tellez would hit a 2-run homer off of Kyle Hendricks in the first inning, but after that, it was all Cubs. As Brewers starting pitcher Jason Alexander would go 5 1/3 innings, giving up 8 hits and 6 earned runs. Here's more from manager Craig Counsell.
We didn't play good enough defense to kind of keep some runs off the board early, and then we'd send them out there for the 6th, and unfortunately that inning just fell apart a little bit on us. We needed length from tonight. We were short bullpen wise tonight, and we couldn't get out of the 6th, unfortunately.
The Brewers sit 47-36 on the year. That's good for first place in the NL Central, 3 games above the St. Louis Cardinals, and are back at it today against the Chicago Cubs for the rubber match. First pitch is at 1:10.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As a proud sponsor of the WIAA, they care about your community like you do. They believe the communities that support their athletes are the true champions. Visit ruralmutual.com/WIAA to learn how they support high school athletics.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
The Milwaukee Bucks are going to get their summer league underway this Friday in Las Vegas. The team announced its roster yesterday and is highlighted by their first-round pick, Marjon Beauchamp. Bucks assistant coach Vin Baker will serve as head coach for Milwaukee's summer league. And after the Deer re-signed Bobby Portis to a 4-year, $49 million deal, and also bringing back guards Wesley Matthews and Javon Carter, as well as free agent forward Joe Ingles, the Bucks have also announced they're bringing back big man Serge Ibaka on a 1-year deal. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show underway. Welcome to the mashup that is. Brewers fall last night, back at it again today. Hopefully getting the rubber match of this series, taking 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. They split with the Pirates. Pirates then come into town over the weekend. Brewers trying to get at least 7 wins. If they end up winning and beating the Cubs today and then can sweep the Pirates, 7 out of 10, not a bad way to go against sub-500 teams. Really bad teams, for lack of a better term. But 6-4, 5-5. God forbid you come in sub-500 against these teams. You would consider this opportunity lost. In the meantime, the Pac-12 looks to be getting rated as the Big 12. Talking to teams out of the Pac-12 right now. Pac-12 trying just to hang on, to have at least a conference in their arms, in their grasp, by the time the football season rolls around, as the pilfering continues. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up. Steve says if the Badgers can't win a Big Ten regular basis without extra teams, I can't see them being a powerhouse going forward. Who has been the stumbling block, not just for the Badgers, but for everybody in the Big Ten, Steve? I mean, when you think about it, for the most part, it's been Ohio State. The Badgers have been a West winner. They have made it to the Big Ten championship game more often than not. It's just been the stumbling block of being Ohio State. I mean, that's the carrot that everybody's chasing. Let's be honest. Last year, we all thought that last year was a year that Ohio State could be had, and sure enough, they were. You could see some of the chinks in the armor. After losing Justin Fields, their quarterback play was not nearly as good as what they thought it was going to be. They lost some of the offensive line. Their wide-out depth was good, but their running backs weren't great. Defensively speaking, their corners left a little bit to be desired. So you knew last year was, and by the way, they were going into the big house. So, and that was Harbaugh's creme de la creme right there. Because Harbaugh's guys, they were kind of put up or shut up, and you knew they were going to come out and be ready to go, as opposed to Ryan Day's group that were just trying to kind of get by until they reloaded this coming season. And sure enough, all of that ended up happening. Now, whether or not Ohio State remains on top, we'll have to wait and see. But Ohio State very, very quickly put together their NIL deal and their websites and their student advisors and such, working on that kind of stuff. And I know Ryan Day went and spoke to business owners about putting it together and what have you. So they were very, very big in being out in front of this whole thing to say, hey, if money's going to become involved, we got to not only be on it, but we got to have more money, more capability, more support than anybody. And they went out and did it right away, where others took a little time to jump into that pond. So they got a kind of a head start on it, we'll say. But I would not say that the Badgers are not capable of winning the Big Ten. When you say on a regular basis, I mean, let's be honest. The top 2 teams in the Big Ten, Ben, when it comes to football, have been what? Ohio State and Wisconsin, right?
I would even say Ohio State and Michigan. Like, yeah, Wisconsin's played in Big Ten title games, but I mean, still, Michigan's probably been the more relevant team overall.
But consistency-wise has been Wisconsin. You throw out the Gary Anderson years, but for the most part, it's been Wisconsin. Over the last couple of decades?
Over the last couple of decades, I would say since like 2011 or 2012, when they started divisions, I think there's an argument for Wisconsin and for Michigan. Michigan's peak years have undoubtedly been better than Wisconsin's, but their valleys have also been a little bit worse. Yet they kind of have always run into Ohio State. That's why they couldn't win the East until last year. You know, like
Ohio
Wisconsin
State has undeniably dominated the landscape of Big Ten football. There's no doubt about that. Number 2, you could say, has been Wisconsin and or Michigan. But the Badgers are right there. To say that they're not consistently successful would be a misnomer. Right?
Oh, they are. I agree. I think one problem right now is where they're trending over the last couple of years is not the right direction. Like if you go back to after 2019, when they had played in 3 of 4 Big Ten championships, were literally points away from winning one. I think the attitude's different than 2020 was rough. And then last year, obviously, was also really rough. So until they get back there and compete with Ohio State on a big stage, it doesn't look like they're trending back towards the top of the conference.
If I had to pick the top 4 teams going into this season in the Big Ten, we'd start with Ohio State, go with Michigan, and then who?
I put Wisconsin 3rd.
Could you go
Penn
there
State,
with the uncertainty of Graham Mertz?
Definitely. I mean, their defense could again be the best in the country. I would probably go Penn State after them, Michigan State after Penn State, and then you get to some smattering of Minnesota, Iowa, Purdue, Nebraska.
That's with the uncertainty of quarterback play. If you said, because we already talked about this, I said the Badgers 9 to 10 wins this season. Just my opinion. Who is going to be better than that? You figure Ohio State would be right there. Michigan probably be right there. Does Iowa get better than that? Does Minnesota? Does Nebraska? And this one's from Brittany, who says, what about the Cornhuskers? Look, Brittany, I don't know if you're a Cornhusker fan or what, but until they actually do something that makes you go, okay, that's what we've been waiting for, I can't put any stock in Nebraska. And I just can't. They have been claiming how great they are and that they're going to dominate the Big Ten ever since they came into it. And ever since they came into it, they have sucked swamp water. They've been bad. So I can't go there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Now what did you give me here, Ben?
So there's a great Big Ten West preview that Bill Connolly of ESPN posted today.
Okay.
Great college football writer.
Right.
And I think he perfectly encaptured what you were trying to say there is they have statistically, you look at everything they've done, Nebraska, that is, and you would think that they have been pretty successful, but they have obviously grossly underachieved every single season. At some point, it's not just randomness. It's you, as in Scott Frost.
Right.
Like at some point, it's just you are unable to coach a winning football team.
Right. Yeah, no, Scott, that has been that's been a major disappointment. Not necessarily for me, but for people that believe in Nebraska. It's just you talk about a disappointment that they've had some talent, but they just have never been able to put it all together. And eventually you have to look at the head coach and the system and staff and such and say, you're not getting it done. I would go along with that. 877-867-1670. Every year you hear on, say, College Game Day, and you go through the previews and you listen to Kirk Herbstreit and he talks about Nebraska and this quarterback player, this wide receiver, or this lineman, and this and you think about, okay, they've got talent. They've got some guys that really turn some heads, but yet they can't get out of their own damn way. Can't do it. Oh my goodness. Fred says, oh my God, what is Mr. Conference of Champions Bill Walton going to do if the Pac-12 ends? Oh, he will have some philosophical suicide. The kaleidoscope of teams and the spectrum of loss will then begin to permeate my soul, and there will be an emptiness from within. I mean, I can just hear Bill Walton going on and on right now. Oh, yeah. Didn't even think about that. The verbal suicide of one Bill Walton will come to pass. 877-867-1670. Phone lines are wide open. Look, and Tay says Wisconsin's place in the Big Ten is solidified. However, they're always going to be that second tier team. Okay, you may be right. You may be right, but you can't be first tier until you become first tier. Right? The same way I think about Nebraska in all the pomp and circumstance when Nebraska came into the Big Ten and they thought they were going to dominate and they've got these national titles behind them and this and that. It was okay, show us what you got, right? This whole thing about Wisconsin and being the best in the West and getting to where they want to be and, deserving respect. Look, you're not going to get it. You're not a top tier program. You're not number one. You haven't been in a long, long time. And until you do it and you do it again and again and again, you're not going to get that same level of respect. So let's take that out of the mix for a minute. But I will say this, for those that want to knock the program, you will be number one when you're number one. Do they have that? Does Wisconsin have that potential? Sure they do. Do they have the same stockpile, the dump truck of five-star recruits that are coming into the system that say Ohio State does, that Harbaugh gets over at Michigan, that even they get at Penn State, that they get at Alabama? No, of course not. But you got to start somewhere. You got to suddenly be, they weren't getting all of that at Alabama until Saban got there and started winning, right? They weren't getting that at Clemson on a consistent basis for a long time. And then you start winning. Georgia, then you start winning. Georgia was down for a while. You got to start winning to be winning. So can they get that under Paul? That's your question. Is will they take that next step? Will they get to that next level under Paul Chryst? Will he push all the right buttons? Now, I think bringing in Ingram and I think keeping Leonard, and I think Leonard has done a fantastic job defensively. I think you've got some pieces in place. I think now it's about closing out the recruiting and putting those pieces together and generating a legit offense. Because defensively, you've been one of the best in the country for years. For years. So, no, okay, let's take that whole, we deserve our respect and all that kind of stuff out of that mix, okay? Because at this point, I look at it as you're the Cleveland Indians of Major League. And then you need somebody to stand up and say, well, let's go win the whole effing thing. And everybody else has to go right on. Because we got no respect. You don't deserve it. You haven't won anything. That's fine, though. That's fine. Who cares? Once you win it, you've won it. And you get it. It begins to come in your direction. And then it moves on from there. But it doesn't matter. Terrible Terry says Wisconsin's never going to get those 5 stars. But see, Terrible Terry, that's my point. Okay, you can look down on that program and say you're never going to get them until you get them. And then when you start to get them and you start to win and you begin to put maybe top 4 finishes, national title hopes, all that kind of stuff in the forefront, because that's the expectation, that's when those recruits will start to come here. You can't put the cart before the horse. You just got to go get them. You got to go kick somebody's ass. And it's Ohio State or Michigan, one of the two or both. You got to have one of those years. And then you got to back it up with a year after that says, no, we're here to stay. We're not a one-hit wonder. We're here to stay. So I'm not down on the program, and I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying don't tell me about respect until you get it. And once you got it, hang on to it. Keep backing it up. It's hard to do in college sports because you got a guy for 2, 3, 4 years. But I think the whole perspective, and Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, the perspective of Badger fan is we're going to get 8 and 9 wins. We're going to be okay. We'll get beat by Ohio State. We'll get a bowl game, right?
Yeah, with the ceiling built in that if they once beat Ohio State, then there you are, back atop the Big Ten.
There you go. Okay.
But I would push back a little bit on one thing. I don't think no matter how much success they have, they'll suddenly turn into one of those powerhouses recruiting because the geography just isn't there. They're at an inherent disadvantage. Like Alabama, teams down there, they can get in a car and drive an hour and put together a 5-star laden class. Wisconsin can't do that. So I think they're severely limited in that respect. I don't know how much winning can change that.
Well, as we all know, we've seen the decrease and then the re-increase of support for recruiting. So we've seen that. You've seen an exodus. Now you're seeing the emphasis being put back on recruiting and getting back out on that trail and doing that. So hopefully that begins to pay off. But I think it's not that you're going to see this influx of 5-star recruits suddenly begin to happen, and all of a sudden it's going to be this impotence on we are playoffs or bust every year. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that this level of respect and notoriety then goes up, but you don't deserve it until you deserve it. So let's forget about it for now. Let's just talk about this team getting better and getting wins and doing it under Paul Chryst. Now, I'm not sitting here saying by any stretch of the imagination, Paul Chryst can't get it done, because some of you feel he can, some of you feel he can't. But to me, you've got now a window of opportunity. I think it was a good move bringing in Ingram. I love the fact that Leonard is still here and sitting there waiting in the wings. I love all the aspects of this team. You got to hope that Graham Mertz takes that step forward and you see that development. Otherwise, if he has another season like he had last year, you got to look at Graham Mertz as just, he was the 5-star failure. Because if he doesn't give you what you want this year, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Then it's sitting there staring you in the face and you can't look past it anymore. Yeah, go ahead.
If you want to take it full circle, what can help them right now, given their situation, is more exposure. Like if they go beat USC at night on a national stage, now that they're in the Big Ten, that's going to help. So when you talk about what this move could be and the Big Ten really stepping to the top of college football, you're going to get more big games every year, which means there's that chance to get more big wins and more exposure.
Yep.
And not only is that entertaining from a fan's perspective, but if they play their cards right, it could really help them.
And from that bigger market, going back to what our tweeter had to say a little bit earlier, saying that they are what they are, it's not going to help Wisconsin. I think you're wrong. It can help Wisconsin. It can also be a negative. You can go out and get beat by those teams on a consistent basis and never get past that, and all of a sudden be looked at as, why would I want to go there? So you got to, when those teams come in and those markets come in, you got to win, you got to produce, and you got to do it in a grandeur fashion. So I think it can benefit the Wisconsin Badgers in a big way. It can hurt you in a big way too, if you're not capable of being up to the task. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I hate being late to the ballpark. You just missed a home run. Gina Della from Pella. I can't believe my seat is next to yours. Peanut? I'm allergic to them. Aw, nuts. You know, I'm always late to things. No one procrastinates like me. The worst is that I missed out on that incredible deal you were offering at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Missed what? It just started. Get beautiful Pella windows and pay no interest for 4 years. That's the one. Imagine the money you'd save by not paying interest for 4 years. Okay. Don't rub it in. Rub what in? The deal just started at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Seriously? Yep. You're just making an exception because you feel bad for me. No, for real. It's hard to believe that a deal this good exists, but it does. You just missed another home run? Oh, this is too important. I'm trying to find the website on my phone. It's PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, our friends over at New Mail Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. If you have it going on, you know you got it. Or it's plagued you, we'll say. If you are that person or the partner of that person, you want to give New Mail Medical a call. 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. Maybe you're over the age of 30, you're slowing down, putting on a little weight, you don't have the same kind of oomph you used to have, you're lacking energy a little bit. Could be low T. Could be the start of low T. Go get your numbers checked. Takes maybe 10, 15 minutes. Stopped in there yesterday. Said hi to Doc Tim and Carlos and Jose and everybody over there, Kathy. And just said, hey, how things going? Things are good. Brand new offices, all upstairs now, and the one in Milwaukee. And things are going good. So they said stop on it. Takes maybe 10, 15 minutes tops. Go get your numbers checked. Or saw a few people in there. One guy came over and said he was doing the all-in-one weight loss program. He's down 14 pounds, came in for his 2-week checkup, and is enjoying it. Said it works. You're right. I said, thank you very much. And all you got to do is call 414-455-4451, 414-455-4451. That is the New Mail Medical Center, again, all over the state of Wisconsin and beyond the borders. One phone number, 414-455-4451. Tyler says, when it comes to Wisconsin Badger football, we've been a quarterback away from being a top-tier program ever since Russell Wilson left. I would probably agree with that. Which is why there was so much hope when Graham Mertz, who came in as the top recruit in the country, chose Wisconsin. And you thought, okay, here you go. And he came in with his first game and just looked as smooth and as polished and as on point as anything. And you went, there it is. And since then, it's been somewhat up and down. Some good games, some bad decisions, some slow decisions. How much emphasis do you put on winning this year with Graham Mertz under center, Ben?
Oh, a lot, no doubt. I mean, you understand if they lose to Ohio State. I think winning the West is a necessity because everything is there around him for him to succeed, as it has been as it was last year, definitely, when you have that defense. And all you have to do is really not turn the ball over to win. It's going to be a similar setting this year. A lot of the tough games are on the road, so that's going to come down to him. So I put winning the West, I think, is probably of the utmost importance. The problem is, though, there really isn't a backup plan. So it's not like you can just go to someone else.
Right. No. All those eggs are in the Graham Mertz basket this year. I would agree. Now, when we were talking about the top 5 programs in the Big Ten, Ohio State being number 1, and we all know that, you sent me something here that says Wisconsin is actually number 2, followed by Penn State, then Michigan, then Iowa, right?
Over the last 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. So to say, for those that say Wisconsin's not there and they don't belong, no. I mean, it's basically Ohio State and everybody else, because Wisconsin and Penn State are actually tied percentage-wise. But Ohio State, then Wisconsin and Penn State, then Michigan, and then Iowa. So Wisconsin and Penn State are kind of fighting for that second tier, while Michigan is right behind them, but then Iowa is pretty far down. So there's basically 4 big teams in the Big Ten. Ohio State reigning supreme, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan. After that, everybody's fighting for third place. That's it. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Now this one's from Jimmy. Jimmy says, hey, Unit, what are your thoughts on Paul Chryst as a head coach? Is he the guy to take Wisconsin to the top level, or do you think they need to make a change? I mean, Paul Chryst came in and stabilized the program after a disastrous Gary Anderson experiment. I think the first step for Paul, sometimes it's not about being a great X's and O's head coach. It's about delegating, and it's about wrapping your arms around people. I think he started to do that with bringing in Ingram, obviously keeping, Leonard there, and the direction that whole thing's going. So I know he's not dynamic. He's not Harbaugh. He's not, Saban. He's that's not him. Do you think that Wisconsin's on a short rope when it comes to their head coach? I don't, but I think this year and this cycle, if you will, is important because this will be the first time he is a head coach without Joe Rudolph there on his staff, even going back to his days at Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. He recrafted the entire coaching staff. He made a lot of new hires to change what has gone wrong offensively in the last 2 years. So I think this is an important time because if it continues to go down a poor path and you don't see improvement, then I could think you could start to have that conversation. But right now, I definitely wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, the problems, I don't really think start with him. You could point out the fact that you look at where football, the sport, is today. Like go to the NFL. If you don't have a top tier quarterback, you're not going to win. You can't just have great defenses. It's a passing league. College is similar in a way, although it is the Big Ten. But one could point out that you're probably never going to win a national title with that playing style unless you're Georgia and have 15 first-round picks and the entire defense are NFL guys. Like there are conversations around it, but I would not say a short stick. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout if you want to chime in. You can also email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Some interesting stuff regarding the Big Ten and Wisconsin's place in it. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there at the Wrestling Taco. And if you're heading out to Wisconsin's Wednesday Night Live tonight at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, a couple of blocks south on 84th Street, before you get over there, or maybe even after, stop in and say hi to Marcus and Nicole and everybody at the Wrestling Taco. Get yourself a margarita, a little bit of food before you head on over, or sit back, relax, watch the end of the Brewers game, and then head on over, and you get your margarita and such in between. But it's the Wrestling Taco, 84th Street in West Dallas. Stop in and tell them we said hi. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it.
Welcome. Hey, our friends at Wabam, W-A-B-A-M, big weekend over the weekend for, I think the Slinger Nationals are coming up here. I think it's next week or in 2 weeks. But I know Matt Kenseth is going to be running at the Slinger Nationals, driving the Wabam car, W-A-B-A-M. Go to Get Wabam, G-E-T, GetWabam.com. Check out all their products. I've been telling you about this for a long time, and I used Wabam on my boat. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. That was some good stuff. I cleaned it up. The ceramic coating on it looks beautiful, beautiful. And I used a couple of different products to take some of the rubber bumper scrapes and such off of it, and then put Wabam over it and use the whiplash on it. Oh, man, it really polished up nice. So if you're going to be out and about and you're thinking about any of their products, you can go and see all that they have to offer at GetWabam.com, a Wisconsin company right here in Colgate, Wisconsin. Go to G-E-T, GetWabam, W-A-B-A-M.com. And I'm telling you, whether it's a motorcycle, a boat, your car, whatever, cleaning products around the house, disinfectant wipes, scrubbers, whatever, they've got it. Go to GetWabam.com. That's GetWabam.com. See for yourself. 877-867-1670. This is from Marcy. Marcy says, as a Wisconsin alum, I certainly hope they get to the top notch in the next couple of years. Otherwise, I have to start thinking seriously about Paul Chryst as the head coach. Do you think McIntosh makes a decision because Barry is no longer there to protect him? Two things. First and foremost, McIntosh was handpicked by Barry. Don't think that McIntosh at some point does not lean on the experience of Barry. Secondly, I'm not going to say McIntosh goes to Barry for every decision. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is before any coaching staff change would be made, specifically when I'm talking about a head coach, I'm sure there's some consultation and thought about this. The program would have to go drastically south. Now, let me back up by saying this. I think that Greg Gard has done a fantastic job after putting his arms back around the program and doing what he did last year. I also think that Paul Chryst has done a fantastic job. What you've been lacking is that next level. So be real careful before you jump to get to that next level just to jump. Sometimes change for the sake of change is good. I get that. It's needed. But when you're on the right path and you know you're a couple of pieces away, then you let that coach figure it out and get those extra couple of pieces before it's all said and done. I don't think you make a jump just to jump. Not yet. Not yet. Because I think the program's really stable. And it goes back what Ben just stated. Over the last 5 years, short of Ohio State, Wisconsin's been the most successful program. You can't argue with that. So if you want to be Ohio State, that's what you want. I'm not denying that. And I've been saying for a long time, don't settle for less. Don't do that. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for, just better than mediocrity. You want to be the best. That's what you want to be. That's what you strive to be. So I agree with that. But I think also you don't jump just to jump. Not yet. Ben, is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, I mean, I do think as off seasons go on, and I do this too, especially after not the most successful end of the season before, you kind of talk yourself into these conversations. But I think once they go back and they start winning again, I think a lot of this will be swept aside. Mm-hmm. But I agree.
Yeah, I'm not jumping just to jump. Not yet. I got a couple more years in me before I do that. And if there's subpar years or unsuccessful years in the eyes of Badgers' expectations, then you start to contemplate it. But I'm anxious to see what the offense does this year, what the growth of Graham Mertz is this year. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, feel free. Go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Our buddy Steve says, goes back to the Brewers. He said Keystone Cops last night having a clunker of a game. To me, it was over after the Brewers loaded the bases with nobody out. Had a strikeout and a double play to squash the threat. They were flat last night and played very sloppy. The good news is that if you have a game like that, the Cardinals also got beat. Although they blew an opportunity to pick up a game, they also didn't lose any ground. Let's hope that they can do what good teams do and bounce back with a solid performance this afternoon. That's from our buddy Steve. This one's from Joe, who says, I think I give Paul Chryst a couple of more years. If you don't get over that hump, then it's time to make a change. This one's from, who's this from? This is from Jack. Jack says, hey, Unit, you're right that Paul Chryst is not dynamic, but what does he do for the players behind the scenes? That's what ultimately counts. He has gotten a lot of positivity out of his guys over the last couple of years. When they talk about the coaching staff, I think that has to speak for something. Jack, I agree. That's the reason I'm saying I'm not saying make a jump. Hopefully you understand that. I'm not saying that. Some people want success. You want it now. It's like a fast food window. You want to order it. We want a championship. We want it now. Hand it to us. And if we don't get it, we're pissed off. I understand that. There have been times in which this team has stubbed their toe in games they lost that they had no business losing. So now you wait and see what they do this year. You regroup, you put it all together. You want to see Graham Mertz develop. You want to see the offense become better under Ingram. You want to see the defense remain one of the top-notch defenses in the country, and how Paul Chryst guides all of that through the choppy waters. And then at the end of every season, you make your determination as to how things went and where if things did not turn out the way you wanted, what you had hoped for, then you figure out what went wrong and you try to fix it. Injuries are injuries. If you end up losing because of injuries, that's not something you can control. But if it comes down to coaching and putting your players in the best position to be successful, and those players aren't equipped to be successful, well, then that's on you as a head coach. But I would agree with that. Let's do this when we come back. I do want to get into some of the Packers stuff, too, after the top of the hour, because there was some talk about Rashawn Gary. And I have said this time and again, and that Rashawn Gary has really pleasantly surprised me. When they picked him, I said he was never going to be the next Reggie White, and that's kind of what some had billed him to be. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. But what he has done is he has grown into that role and grown extremely well. And the more snaps he's gotten, the better he's gotten. The years that have gone by, the better he's gotten. And I'm completely pleased with Rashawn Gary. But Rashawn Gary getting a little bit slighted nationally, more so than locally, I guess, might be the best way to put it. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up after the top of the hour. And we'll get into, so I don't want to get into a ton of Packers chatter because right now there isn't a whole lot. If you're doing it other than maybe an article or something that was published, you're kind of making it up as you go. But we will talk about it a little bit coming up after the top of the hour. So stay tuned for that. Also, speaking of Packers, there is one former Packer that said, yeah, you know what? I might not be adverse to going into the broadcast booth. So we can discuss that as well. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up this portion of the program, brought to you by our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com. That's wishd.com for everything that it is they have to offer. And if you're looking for a guy that's going to deal with you, the guy that's going to take care of you, a guy that's going to go ahead and say, okay, let's see what you got. That's our buddy Craig. He's the general manager over there, and he is obviously got a lot of inventory when it comes to used bikes, new bikes, all kinds of stuff to talk about over there. Go in and see Craig. Tell him we sent you. Craig is the general manager of Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Stop in, tell him we said hi. Go to wishd.com to see all that it is they have to offer. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid.
This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome. Glad you're with us. Shay, our friends at Quick Trip had a spectacular weekend. And they gave away that Camaro. The Quick Trip 250 went off without a hitch. It was great action all the way down to the very end. Chase Elliott, couldn't quite get there. But nevertheless, fantastic weekend and a lot of fun. And kudos to all involved regarding the Quick Trip 250 out of Road America. Stopped over at Quick Trip today. They still have some of the leftover merchandise and stuff left over from the Quick Trip 250. But the big thing was I went in today and I keep using my Quick Rewards card. So I get registered for the cash and all the prizes and stuff that they're giving away. But I went in today and I had to get a couple of things this morning. I just wanted to get a thing of eggs. I was out of butter because I've been kind of running down the food inventory here at the house because I'm leaving for a week. And I want to make sure that there's some stuff in the house for the people that are staying here while I'm gone. But, you know, I'm just kind of making sure that I got stuff, if you will, in the home. So I had to go pick up some eggs and some butter and picked up some bread and grabbed a few bananas for the trip. And then I thought, well, I'll grab a couple of sandwiches real quick, some breakfast sandwiches. It takes kind of the work out of my morning. And when I got to the register, I got my sandwiches for free because I had built up the Quick Trip points. I was fired up. Free sandwiches any day of the week are good. So stop into Quick Trip and don't forget, keep using your Quick Rewards card and you too can get some of the benefits just like I do. Good stuff from our friends at Quick Trip. 877-867-1670. Let's get back at it. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, you owe me $1 million. Where's my cash? I've been waiting for you.
What I owe you $1 million for?
Man, you see. Hey, I got a question since you was talking about the Badgers over there.
Yeah.
In your opinion, who is the greatest Badger player that ever came out of college?
Oh, boy, just football or in general?
Who's that? Brooks Bollinger. Was Brooks Bollinger quarterback?
Brooks
right?
Bollinger was a quarterback. Don't forget about Ron Dane, the all-time rushing leader in NCAA history. I mean, you look at Russell Wilson, who played there for a year. You look at Frank the Tank, who had done amazing things with him and Sam Decker to the Final Four. I mean, you can look at a lot of different, Badgers that have had success. Mark Johnson, he was on the Miracle on Ice team,
Yeah. Speaking of Graham Mertz, I don't think he's that good of enough quarterback because I think he's got too many issues. I think that the Badgers they can't recruit good quarterbacks ever since Brooks Bollinger left. Even though yes, you had Wilson, but that's only like one major quarterback you had. Ever since then, you ain't really had a stable quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. You're right. I would agree with that. You've had, God, you can think about so many different guys that have gone through that system. But the best quarterback, the best quarterback play we saw was that year that Russell Wilson was here, right?
Okay, so and how many years has Chris been here now? 4, 5?
I don't know specifically off the top of my head. Couldn't tell you. Yeah, about that, yes.
If he can't get it right, you're gonna have to start asking questions about him.
Right.
I remember because he came from Pittsburgh. I get it. He played in the system here, but is he really a good enough coach to get us over the hump? I mean, you still have Ohio State standing in the way.
Right.
You still need that. You still need that one or two quarterbacks to get you over the hump. And he ain't getting it done. You're just going to be where you are right now.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
No, I would completely agree with you, man. Bruce, appreciate it as always, buddy. I mean, when you start to think about everything that they've had, you can think about, don't forget JJ and TJ Watt. Right? I mean, Joe Schobert in recent history. There's Melvin Gordon, who's also played well. Travis Frederick, who's played extremely well. When you talk about some of the greatest players to come out of Wisconsin, I mean, not just quarterbacks and such, but just overall players. I mean, come on, man. There's been a lot of good ones that have come out of Wisconsin. 877-867-1670. Joe Thomas, yeah, you're right. Joe Thomas was so cool because on draft day, going as a first-round draft choice, he's out on a boat fishing. That was so cool. Problem was he got drafted by Cleveland. And Cleveland never really, Joe Thomas was so good. So good. He gutted it out. He could have gone elsewhere. He just never did. Give him so much credit. He stood by his own morals and ethics and just what a good dude, man. Good dude. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. We'd love to kind of chat. Some of the best Wisconsin athletes. Mark says, what about Steve Stricker? Steve Stricker's been obviously a big ambassador for the state of Wisconsin, no doubt. Yeah, probably the biggest right now would be JJ and TJ Watt. Anthony says, what about Tyler Hero? Yeah, but he didn't go to Wisconsin.
He committed,
then decommitted. Melvin Gordon, no doubt. Who am I missing here? We talked about Russell Wilson. We talked about Frank. We talked about TJ Watt.
Troy Vincent. I'd throw him on there.
Devin Harris. Right? Devin Harris. He went to the Dallas Mavericks. Spent the majority of his time in the NBA there. So there's more than a few. So you can keep going. Greg says Steve Stricker went to Illinois. Yeah, I know, but we were just talking about out of Wisconsin when they mentioned it. I'm talking about out of University of Wisconsin, but others are saying giving us Wisconsin athletes. And Steve Stricker, he did not play for Wisconsin. Still a big supporter of Wisconsin, don't get me wrong. But he did not go to Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor, another one. Right now, rushing for Indianapolis. Yeah. A lot of success stories. Michael Finley. Gary, you're right. Michael Finley's another one. No doubt. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Is Rashawn Gary the real deal? I'll give you my determination when we come back. You might even be a little bit surprised if you were listening to me on that draft night. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
Search for ABC of Wisconsin online.
Well, the Bucs are prepping to open up Summer League action out in Las Vegas this Friday against Brooklyn. It's going to feature the debut of first-round pick Marjan Beauchamp. There are also 5 former Badgers playing in the league, including 10th overall pick Johnny Davis with Washington. They'll get things going Saturday against Detroit. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Glad to have you back. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. I'm Bill Michaels, Ben Kenny producing the program. Glad you're with us today. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. When you think about the Packers outside linebacker Rashawn Gary, what do you say about Rashawn Gary? He's had some really good seasons. He's been one of the most productive and efficient edge rushers in football. Although he's still not looked at as a top player at the edge rushing position coming into this season. In a poll of over 50 NFL executives, coaches, and players conducted by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, Gary didn't make it into the top 10 or even the honorable mention section among the league's edge rushers. He was listed among those, quote, also receiving votes. One poll doesn't necessarily provide a perfectly accurate representation of the league's viewpoint on where a player stands among its peers. But this one does show that Gary, who led the Packers in sacks with 9.5 and quarterback hits in 28 back in during last season in 2021, isn't yet viewed as a solidified star in the NFL after just one terrific season. Gary, hungrier, he says, than ever before. Coming out of the PackersWire.com. But Gary said, if anything, it's made me hungry. According to Mike Spofford of Packers.com, it made me go back, watch film, see what I put on tape, see areas of my pass rush, my run defense, and things that I can improve on. Another step forward from Gary, and everybody else in the league would consider him to be one of the game's best if he continues to progress. He was the 12th overall pick in 2019. I had stated at the time that I didn't think it was a good pick. I had stated at the time that this is not Reggie White walking through the door, that he was not a big-time pass rusher. So to get 9.5 sacks this year, that's impressive. He has really emerged, which also goes to show you and me that you cannot make the overwhelming assumptions on draft day about a particular player until you get a chance to actually see them. Now, I did see flashes early on. Rashawn Gary has always had strong upper body. He has always been a bull in a china shop type of rusher. He can knock your ass over. And we've seen that. He does not have that big hammer underneath move. He does not have that big swat over the top move. He doesn't have that. He's never perfected that. Doesn't mean he can't. Just means he's never really had that. What he's had is, I will beat you up if you're not physically more dominating than I am. That he's always had. And that he's accentuated. So for what I thought he would be to what he is, he's certainly proven me wrong. And I think a lot of others as well. But just speaking on my behalf, he's proven me wrong. He's been a terrific surprise. But for him not to be considered one of the top in the NFL, I understand it to a certain extent. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it to a certain extent. But I'm glad what his statement is that it's made him hungrier. Absolutely. Because I think he has, if he takes yet another step forward this season, and I'm not just talking statistically, I'm talking disruptive and better against the run, then I think he has become a truly all-around player. And he will have far, far, far exceeded expectation after he got that full-time playing experience because Zadarius Smith was down last year. It was worth the wait. According to Pro Football Focus, he finished second among NFL edge rushers in pressures with 81, second at win rate, and that goes back to that fact that he is just so damn strong. 8th in pass rush grade at 88.9, and 3rd in pass rush productivity. Now, the key for him would be maintaining that production and the disruption capability. Now that everybody in the NFL is aware of his capabilities as a rusher, and he's got to evolve. He's got to then earn that move. That's that power under move or that hammer over the top swat and swim. Whatever he ends up getting, that's it. So because other teams are going to try to find his faults and accentuate that, right? That's what you do. But he considers every season a chance to be an ascending player, young player, to prove his status among his peers in the NFL. But this time next year, he could easily find himself cemented as one of the top edge rushers and in line for maybe a massive new contract extension. Don't forget, because that's coming up as well. So let's be honest. That's ultimately the goal. You want to win a championship. You want to be considered by your peers as one of the best, no doubt. But for Rashawn Gary, here comes the money train. So in a year in which he needs it, you one, knock on wood, you don't end up with an injury, right? Two, and I think probably more importantly, you ascend. Do you want 9.5 sacks again this year? Yes. But you want to continue to be disruptive and you want to be even better against the run. This is not the same speed coming off the edge as, say, Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews was so good because he could drag down ball carriers and quarterbacks from behind. Rashawn Gary's not that same speed guy. But when it comes to his side of the field, if he can shed and tackle and really get even better at that, then I think not only if he can keep the numbers that he had from last year, but be able to shed and tackle and up his run defense, I think then he begins to really ascend, because then he will have backed it up, the numbers that he put together last year, and then he even got better when it comes to being a run stuffer. And that then becomes an all-around player. That then earns him the cash along with it. What did you think about Rashawn Gary when he came out, when he was drafted, Ben?
Well, I knew him more from the perspective of number one recruit in the country going to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was productive, but he wasn't that crazy. Like, I don't know the best example, but that crazy edge rusher, like Will Anderson at Alabama right now, that just tore up college football. He wasn't that, but you saw the potential. So coming out, I thought the draft pick was mostly based on the massive potential there. So it would have made sense if it didn't pan out right away. And I guess we've seen that.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if it's the best analogy, but he's like aging like a mildly fine wine, where in the beginning you saw some things, but then now, especially with Zadarius Smith gone, I mean, now it's his pass rush.
877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Now you pack that with this Packers defensive line and how much better he can get. Kenny Clark, he's got what we believe to be legitimate help up front. I think we can all agree upon that. Devontae Wyatt, along with the Eagles' first-round selection of Jordan Davis, helped to solidify Georgia's defensive line, and it was revered in college football. So bringing in Devontae Wyatt, huge. The Packers have spent the first-round draft pick on defensive linemen, not including Rashawn Gary, who was technically a D-end out of Michigan before he switched to the outside linebacker position, since Ted Thompson knocked it out of the park getting Kenny Clark. So you've got Jerron Reed, who they picked up in the offseason, the veteran defensive tackle. He looks to shore up a defensive line unit that seems to have as much talent as they've had in years. And this defense's new potential overall. The one thing that's been missing, I think, for this Packers defense over the last few years, it's gotten steadily better. But the one thing that is missing consistently, I think, has been the ability to create turnovers. And I think this defense has been looking for that for like a decade. Go back to when Charles Woodson and company were roaming the secondary, whether it was coming off the edge, creating fumbles by blindside hits to quarterbacks, or it was getting picks, punching the ball out via fumbles. I think this defense has been searching for a top 10 finish in turnovers for quite some time. That's the only thing missing. I think that now they've got depth up front. They've got legit linebackers. Their secondary is not extensively deep, but deep enough. And I think that they have that ability to be a top 5 defense. I don't deny that. But I think I think the one thing missing is probably the ability to create consistently turnovers. And they're going to need that. Because let's just say, for blanks and giggles, that the offense without Devontae is nowhere nearly as good. Okay, let's just say that all the predictions, all those gloom and doom naysayers on the outside looking in saying it's Aaron Rodgers and no other ability to move the football. Let's say part of that is true, that the productivity just descends. Okay, you're going to need more opportunities to move the football, which means you're going to need a defense that's going to give the ball back to you often enough for you to win games. 877-867-1670. I don't necessarily believe that, but if this defense can create turnovers, it really does change things in many, many ways. Many, many ways. This one is from AJ, who says, I think this defense is the best they've had since 2010, and it may even be better. The guys up front are certainly stronger. I don't know if I'd go that far. Remember that year you had Cullen Jenkins, B.J. Raji, C.J. Wilson, Howard Green, Ryan Pickett. You had beef. You had wherewithal up front. You had quickness up front. You had domination up front. The linebacking core was probably not as good. Even though you had the outside rusher, you had A.J. Hawk on the inside, you had the outside rusher and Clay Matthews. I don't know if that, but the depth of that, we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know if I'm going to put up, because in the secondary, your shutdown corner would be Jair. Compare Jair to Charles. Charles was an interception machine. Charles got picks. He was the defensive player of the year. I don't know if Alexander's going to be that, because Alexander's forte is not picking guys off, picking off quarterbacks. It's basically defending passes. He creates a lot of incompletions, but he's not a guy with the best hands. He doesn't have that same pick ability that Charles Woodson has. So to compare the defenses in that realm, or compare players in that realm, if you want to go pound for pound, I don't know. I don't know if they're that good. Who is Nick Collins? Adrian Amos? Darnell Savage? Darnell Savage, maybe, but I don't think he's Nick Collins good. Then your backups, remember in that secondary, Tramon Williams, Sam Shields with that incredible speed. Is Stokes that good? Is Russell Douglas that good? I don't know if you could say that. That was a hell of a defense. They weren't the best at stuffing the run, but they were really, really good at putting pressure on quarterbacks, causing them to throw a second or two too early, and then being able to turn the ball over. And they were real good at punching it out too. But with a speed rusher of Clay Matthews coming off the edge, A.J. Hawk's best year, so I would say Devondre Campbell, an upgrade at the middle linebacking position, yes. Is Preston Smith as good as Clay Matthews? Is Rashawn Gary as good as Clay Matthews playing the outside backer position? That edge rusher? I don't know if I'd go there. I don't know if I'd go there. And Cheddarball says Jair's a lockdown corner. They don't throw at him. I would agree. So that means, okay, so they didn't throw a lot at Charles, but Charles came up with picks. You didn't want to throw at Charles Woodson, but Charles Woodson, if you did, he just had a knack for not only reading the football, but grabbing the football. He had good hands. So if you're going to compare lockdown corners, Charles had one of his best seasons ever in a year in which they won the Super Bowl playing for the Packers. That's my comparison, though. You see what I'm saying? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. But this year they want to expound upon turnovers. They were good last year. They weren't great. This year they want to be great. That was one of the emphasis coming into camp when they talked about it quite often, that they were better at it last year. They want to be even better at it this year. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. This portion of the program being brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and looking out of them right now. Last night, they kept the storms out, nice and comfortable in the house, the humidity out of the house. Good stuff. Love those Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And right now, whether it's windows, doors, entry systems, you can get 4 years, no interest financing. I say it again, 4 years, no interest. Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. All you got to do is make a phone call. Make a phone call, say, hey, I want to stop in. I want to check them out. Or get that free in-home consultation. Free in-home consultation. Go to PellaWI.com. That is Pella, P-E-L-L-A, PellaWI.com. Or call them, 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. 855-PELLA-WI. See for yourself. How about, though, if you don't go with the financing, how about going with, $250 off the windows, $400 off the slider windows? They're giving all kinds of deals right now. Again, go to PellaWI.com or call them 855-PELLA-WI. They will custom measure, custom manufacture, custom assemble, and then custom install with warranty your windows and doors. All that opportunity is right there at your fingertips. Go to PellaWI.com or call them 855-PELLA-WI. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I hate being late to the ballpark. You just missed a home run. Gina Della from Pella. I can't believe my seat is next to yours. Peanut? I'm allergic to them. Aw, nuts. You know, I'm always late to things. No one procrastinates like me. The worst is that I missed out on that incredible deal you were offering at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Missed what? It just started. Get beautiful Pella windows and pay no interest for 4 years. That's the one. Imagine the money you'd save by not paying interest for 4 years. Okay. Don't rub it in. Rub what in? The deal just started at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Seriously? Yep. You're just making an exception because you feel bad for me. No, for real. It's hard to believe that a deal this good exists, but it does. You just missed another home run? Oh, this is too important. I'm trying to find the website on my phone. It's PellaWI.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Went to the visitation of Nick Albanese, Dominic Albanese, and Joey's dad. Sad day yesterday, but the name and the restaurant live on. And if you're going to stop in, say hi to Joey, give him a hug. All the bocce ball people were there yesterday, and a lot of their friends and family and those that knew Dominic and such. But it's just a kind of a sad day, but yet a celebration of life yesterday. And if you're going to be out and about looking for some good Italian food on the west side of Milwaukee, out in the Waukesha, Brookfield area, Albanese's Roadhouse right there on Blue Mountain Road, just next to Menards and across the street from Home Depot. You know where that's at. Just stop at Albanese's Roadhouse. Tell Joey and the gang we said hi and give him a hug. Give him a hug. Good. Give him a good Italian family hug. Good stuff. One of the other topics that I had posted about today was the fact that rumor has it that the Bears need a dome. Soldier Field. Ben, now I don't understand. The Bears bought all that property out by Arlington. So there's a lot of rumor and innuendo that they're going to move to Arlington. They're going to build a new stadium there, something much more conducive to them making money than what they have with the Parks Department at Soldier Field. Soldier Field being the longtime historic stadium of the Chicago Bears, and then they did the renovation, which looks like total crap. It was a complete failure, an epic failure for $600 and almost $700 million, as opposed to what the Packers did for $250 million. They stole the money from the people of Illinois. Okay, but what is putting a dome on Soldier Field going to do? I don't understand why we're talking about putting a dome on Soldier Field.
The fans can take their coats off?
Yeah, I guess. But how does that make more money for the Bears?
Oh, it doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. This topic came up, and I don't understand why they're saying Chicago considering a dome for Soldier Field. The mayor wants to put a dome to keep the Bears downtown. I don't understand why. I don't understand what Mayor Lightfoot openly floated out the idea of enclosing Soldier Field before, most recently in February. But the Lakefront Museum Campus Working Group, established to recommend strategic investments to Chicago's lakefront landmarks, is now expected to formally propose Soldier Field to be improved, which would include rebuilding parts of the nearly 100-year-old stadium and potentially selling or granting the name and rights to the venue, which has been home to the Bears since 1971. A dome, meanwhile, would likely require taxpayer contributions, with the cost estimated between $400 million and $1.5 billion. Just to add a dome? The most recent NFL stadiums with enclosed roofing includes the Chargers, the Rams, SoFi Stadium, obviously the Raiders. You go back a little ways, you look at what the Vikings have done. But my question is, why in the world would the Bears want to stay at Soldier Field other than just remaining downtown? Now, I'm not a Bears fan. I could give two blanks about this when it comes to the fandemonium of the Chicago Bears. But other than maybe as a Packers fan going into Soldier Field going, I don't have to dress for the weather. But why, if I'm the Bears and I'm the McCaskey family, why am I doing this? You still have the same issues. You don't own the land. The naming rights are going to help you and the city. They're not yours. I mean, unless the Bears, negotiate and say, we want the property, we want to manage the property, we want to govern all money in the property, we'll just pay you for it and get it out of the way. Why would I, as a Chicago Bear executive, want this deal? I can't figure it out. Because every
concerts,
I guess,
try to get a Super Bowl. I don't know. I guess there are events that could be held indoors.
That's part of it. If they get this deal, that you got to assume, since they've done a Super Bowl in Minnesota, they've done a Super Bowl in Detroit, they've done a Super Bowl in a non-enclosed stadium in the Meadowlands, you got to assume that at some point Chicago will get a Super Bowl. Somewhere down the road, the NFL is going to promise them that. That seems to be the direction in which, because every team that's built a stadium's gotten one. Now, it's already assumed you're going to get one if you're in the South, whether it's Miami, New Orleans, like when Jerry World was built, Arizona. You assume those places are going to get them anyway. Carolina, Tampa Bay, you understand that. San Diego, California, LA. The Vegas Raiders are now getting one. They're getting a Super Bowl in a couple of years. This coming year, it's back in Arizona. And then after that, it goes to Las Vegas. Then after that, it goes to New Orleans. But you would assume they're going to do that. But again, Jonathan says, well, you could have other events there during the winter months, such as March Madness, tournaments, concerts, Big Ten championship. Yeah, but that does not benefit the Bears. Joshua, I get all of that. But if I'm the Bears, why do I want those? If you don't own the property and you don't own the building and you don't get paid for that, because the city, the Parks Department owns that. If you don't get that money, then why, if I'm in the Bears, why would I do this deal? It's great to say that you're doing that there. That's fine for the city. Absolutely. But as far as the rest of it goes, why would it matter to me? 877-867-1670. I just, there's got to be more to this, I guess. There's got to be more to this for that would benefit the Bears. There has to be. Because otherwise, why would I be doing it? That's the only issue I can see. Now, if they say, hey, we're gonna give you the naming rights, or we're gonna give you the ability to make additional money off of this, then absolutely you would do it in a heartbeat if you're the Bears. Rick says, I thought the Bears were building their own stadium outside of Chicago. Yeah, Arlington. That's the point, is that the Bears already purchased that property. The assumption is they're going to move. This is Chicago's attempt to try to keep the Bears in Chicago and at Soldier Field. And that's why Mayor Lightfoot kind of floated it out there, and they're going to make this formal proposal that, yes, eventually they're going to propose to put a dome on Soldier Field and renovate Soldier Field in an effort to keep the Bears there. But if I'm the Bears, why would I want to stay? If I'm going to have my own stadium, my own parking, all the venues in that area can then be developed by me, and I get the money off of that, why would I want to be a part of any renovation and rebuild of Soldier Field? As historic as it is, why would I want to be a part of that? Because we know that the Bears are doing it for the money. So anyway, I was throwing it out there because when I read that, I thought, this is peeing into a fan. This is just saying something to say something. It doesn't matter. Rick, I could not agree with you more. He said Soldier Field is a dump. The last remodel was an epic failure. Chicago government sucks. Just look. Now go back and think about this for a minute, because both stadiums were being funded at about the same time in renovation. The renovation, they hired the firm that renovated Notre Dame Stadium. The Bears did. And they put together this grand plan to make this beautiful Parthenon look like a cruise ship parked in front of it. And in the meantime, Bob Harlan is scraping and planning and adding things and talking to people and getting references and looking in many directions to try to figure out the best way to utilize a very limited fund to pay for the renovation of Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field is complete. Soldier Field is complete. Soldier Field, the majority of seats are upstairs, the low-income seats, as opposed to closer to the field, higher income seats. The Cadillac Club and the suites, they're nice. They're not bad. But overall, yeah, it's a pieced together aluminum can. And look at Lambeau Field, standing tall and majestic above everything else. And anybody in the NFL will tell you some of the best stadiums. You can look at, say, the new stadium of SoFi. You can look at that giant thing that looks like an iRobot out there in Vegas. Beautiful. Jerry World, incredible. But when it comes to the tradition of stadiums and the beauty of a stadium and the functionality of a stadium, I think everybody votes on Lambeau. Hands down. Nobody mentions, oh, yeah, we got to go to Soldier Field. That's a dump. I've said for years, the joke has always been from some of the Delta pilots, when you're flying north into Chicago, once you get to the giant toilet seat, make a left. But to add a dome to Soldier Field, why? I can see for the city. Yes, you are right. You can get more events. You can get concerts. You can do things in the wintertime, Final Fours and all that kind of stuff. That I get. But if I'm the Bears, how does that benefit the Bears? That's what I'm asking. 877-867-1670. That's the phone number to get a hold of us. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill over there on Pewaukee Lake. Beautiful. And I know a lot of you stopped by over the weekend, the historic holiday weekend, even saw, well, they didn't have the fireworks there on Monday. They're going to be this weekend. So maybe you're heading over there this weekend to catch the fireworks. Stop in, tell Ryan and the whole staff we said howdy. The fireworks, they bumped them. I'm not going to get the chance to see the fireworks on Pewaukee Lake this year. They bumped them back. Going to be out of town. But Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill, going to be packed. Stop in, tell them we said hi. Get yourself the pig porker. They got a great buffalo chicken wrap there. They got some good pizzas too. Love that buffalo chicken wrap there, though. Good place to go and watch the games as well. That's Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill right there on Pewaukee Lake, next to Smokey's Bait Shop, right there at the launch ramp. Good stuff. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Smell those steaks on the grill? Summertime is grilling time. Get your steaks shipped directly to you. Go to ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzieFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
So some breaking news right now in the NFL. A new quarterback in Carolina. It has finally happened. He has garnered his freedom. That's right. The Panthers are getting Baker Mayfield from the Browns for a 2024 conditional 5th-round draft choice. Ben, they got him for kind of a steal.
For nothing. Yeah.
Man, that is, I mean, the Browns didn't get much anything really. And the Browns are splitting the financials. The Browns are actually paying half of his salary as well. That's an amazing deal for Carolina. The Browns must have just been, I mean, everybody knew that they had to trade him, that he was not going to play for Cleveland. Now, does this give you, because the next question is, well, who's going to quarterback in Cleveland? Do the Browns feel like Deshaun Watson's going to be their guy? Like he's coming back? There's no way. What happens if you're the Browns? You make this deal. Baker Mayfield's gone, and he wasn't going to play for you anyway. But you make this deal, and Deshaun Watson, say, gets at minimal the entire year. Do you just beg it for a year and hope that he comes back, and after missing 2 years of football, that Deshaun Watson's the real deal? And that nothing else goes awry? He doesn't do anything else to warrant yet another investigation, a new investigation of some type? Boy, no wonder the Browns are just a cesspool. That's all they could get was a 5th-round draft choice for the former number 1 overall pick in Baker Mayfield, who has taken that team to a playoff situation. And then on top of it, oh, by the way, you're paying him to go away. That is amazing.
Bill, do you know what we get to see week 1?
Give it to me.
Browns at Carolina.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I did not even realize that. But boy, okay, well, we'll go with that. Looking forward to that.
It's kind of amazing how whenever anything happens, it just fits in perfectly to some game happening and a narrative that, the NFL can market.
It satisfies our curiosity.
No doubt.
Oh, man.
So who's quarterback for the Browns week 1, do you think? Jacoby Brissett?
Jacoby Brissett, yeah. There's no way. Now, you mean like, are you talking Jacoby Brissett or Deshaun Watson? Or are you talking Joshua Dobbs or whomever? Somebody
maybe
that
Watson.
My assumption, there's no way it's Deshaun Watson. There's no way. The NFL, there's no way. And it's got to be Jacoby Brissett. I mean, if you're the Browns, you're now down to what, 2 quarterbacks? Joshua Dobbs and Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson, you got to assume is going to be on the shelf. Right? You'd have to think that.
Maybe they trade for a veteran. Brissett hasn't been bad.
No.
Like when he would come in, he would be fine enough.
Right.
I would say bring in Nick Foles, but he already found a home.
Nick Foles is is your guy. Trevor says there's no way Deshaun Watson plays this year, but do the Browns know something we don't? Go ahead and make that deal to get rid of Baker Mayfield rather than crossing the bridge to make him happy to get him to come back to play for you, because you know Deshaun Watson's going to play this year and they're not going to make a decision on him until after the end of the season. Trevor, I cannot imagine that Deshaun Watson's going to step onto a field this season. It would be. What are the odds Deshaun Watson plays at all this year, Ben? If you're going to be an odds maker in Vegas right now,
I would say 3-1, 4-1 at this point that he plays a single game.
4-1 against that he plays a single game, or 4-1 that he does play.
4-1 against, like you would get significant plus money betting him to play a game.
I would say
to miss the season.
90% of me says he does not play a game. He does not step onto an NFL field this season. 90% of me. That's why that's why you would have to assume that Jacoby Brissett is going to be the starter. Now, Rick says Watson's going to get 12 games minimal. See, when you start looking at the comparison of games, you go back to Ben Roethlisberger. He was accused of something, never charges were not filed, nothing came to pass out of it, but he got suspended. Now you take that and multiply that by 26, 25. You have to figure it's going to be at least a year, right? At first, I thought we were talking 4 to 6 games because it just seemed like things were starting to trend in Deshaun Watson's favor. But after everything that's gone on, the pressure that's being put on the NFL, this hostile work environment thing that's going on with the Washington Command, I mean, the NFL has to come down on him. If the NFL does not come down on Deshaun Watson and does not come down on Daniel Snyder, they will look like the most misogynistic entity of any business out there. And this whole thing of the commissioner yelling about protect the shield will be 1,000,000% garbage. It will be the most hypocrisy-filled statement ever. The NFL is going to always go on because there's gambling and fanatics and football people, and we all know that. But it will be a really, really, really dark day in the NFL if they don't do what's necessary or go above and beyond what's necessary to prove that they're not what everybody's perception of them actually is. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So Baker Mayfield, on his way out, going to Carolina, waiting for the decision on Deshaun Watson, waiting for a decision and more via the House subcommittee on Capitol Hill regarding Daniel Snyder and the Washington Commanders. All is quiet on the Stephen Ross front, on the Jimmy Haslam front, on the Jerry Jones front. All is quiet there. All is quiet on the John Gruden front for the time being. We're waiting for the depositions to actually begin to take place. You would assume there's negotiations going on there. Interesting stuff going on right now in the NFL. 877-867-1670. Going to stop over and see my buddy Dan Della today over at the Social House, HAUS. As a matter of fact, I'm swapping my car with Dan because I don't have a truck right now. So to be able to take the boat on vacation, I was up the other day and Dan's like that. He was complaining about the gas prices. He says, I just can't wait to get out of my truck. I said, you know what? I'll give you an opportunity to for a week if you want. So we're going to actually trade vehicles. I'm going to take his Chevy pickup. He's going to drive my car for a week, and I'm going to get to be able to take the boat on vacation, and Dan's going to get a chance to get a break on the gas prices and kind of go from there. So there you go. It all works out for everybody, but that's the kind of guy Dan is. Just a great guy, man. So stop into the Social House, HAUS on Lisbon Road in Menominee Falls, and tell them we said hi. But more so, get the cheese curd burger because it's fantastic. I'm going to have one of those today. Cannot wait. About 3:30, something like that. Going to get over there, swap cars, eat a little bit, and then head out to pick up the boat from our buddy at Lyle and the gang at J&L Tire Service. So cannot wait. Tell Dan we said hi. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after the top of the hour. Hang in there. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers jumped out to an early 2-0 lead last night against Chicago, but it was all Cubs after that, an 8-3 win. Jason Alexander was tagged with 7 runs, 6 earned in 5 1/3 innings for the crew. 6 of the runs he allowed came in the 5th and 6th innings. In a normal situation, manager Greg Counsell may have gone with somebody else on the mound in the 6th, but a lack of arms in the bullpen forced his hand.
We didn't play good enough defense to kind of keep some runs off the board early. And then, we sent him out there for the 6th, and, unfortunately that inning just fell apart a little bit on us. We needed length from tonight. We were short bullpen wise tonight, and we couldn't get out of the 6th, unfortunately.
Alexander took the loss, the first of his career. Rowdy Tellez's 2-run homer in the first was his 10th consecutive extra base hit, which tied a team record. The two teams going to be back in action this afternoon as they close out the 3-game set at American Family Field. Corbin Burns gets the ball for Milwaukee. He's 7-4 with a 2.36 ERA. The Cubs go with Adrian Sampson. He's got a 3.38 ERA. First pitch is coming up at 1:10.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Rural Mutual is the #1 farm insurer in Wisconsin for a good reason. As a company founded by farmers, they understand the ag industry and its challenges. Local agents offer farm families the best advice and personalized coverage. Visit ruralmutual.com to find an agent near you.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs are prepping to open up Summer League action out in Las Vegas this Friday against Brooklyn. It's going to feature the debut of first-round pick Marjan Beauchamp. There are also 5 former Badgers playing in the league, including 10th overall pick Johnny Davis with Washington. They'll get things going Saturday against Detroit. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Show getting underway. We're glad you're with us. Got some Aaron Rodgers for you. Remember Jay Cutler? Sure we do, right? Remember Jay Cutler? Recently, Brian Urlacher spoke out regarding Jay Cutler. And he started off kind of talking about the Bears' 2010 season. That's when they lost to the Packers in the NFC Championship game, when they went 11-5 in the regular season. And remember, Jay Cutler left the NFC Championship game in the second quarter with a knee injury. Brian Urlacher came to his defense. Quote, he, meaning Jay Cutler, tore his MCL in the second quarter, kept trying to play. The media said he just copped out because we were getting beat. Urlacher admitted to Cutler's toughness as a player. He backed up the validity of Cutler's absence during the NFC Championship game in 2010 and referenced a game following that season when Cutler played with a dislocated thumb. He said, Jay's tough. I don't care what anybody says. Cutler played 8 seasons with the Bears, 2009 through 2016. The franchise's leading passer in completions, yards, and touchdowns. Think about that. When you talk about those reference points in history of the Chicago Bears, their #1 guy is Jay Cutler. He got 1 Pro Bowl nod back in 2008 with the Broncos. 2 seasons after the Bears made it to the NFC Championship game, they went 10-6 in the regular season. And newly hired general manager Phil Emery then turned around and fired Lovie Smith. Urlacher said, I don't like how they handled it. They fired our GM the year before, and I don't see how the F you fire Lovey after going 10-6. Minnesota decides to beat Green Bay on the last game of the year, and they haven't beaten Green Bay in like 5 years, he said. They beat Green Bay, knocked us out of the playoffs, and then they fire Lovey? And I was like, what the F are y'all doing? The Bears' best record after they fired Lovey Smith came the next season with the new head coach, Mark Trestman. He led the squad to an 8-8 record. Trestman then fired in 2014 along with Phil Emery. The Bears didn't win 10-plus games in the regular season until 2018 when then head coach Matt Nagy and new general manager Ryan Pace led them to a 12-4 record and a first-round playoff loss. Who'd they lose that game to, Ben?
Are you talking about the Bears? I'm sorry, I missed the last part of it.
In 2018, the Bears went 12-4, and that was the game in which?
Yeah, that'll be Nick Foles and the double doink.
The double doink. The double doink. After Lovey, they had a hard time winning games, Urlacher said. But Urlacher attesting to the toughness, saying the media got it wrong. Jay Cutler is effing tough. I don't know if I buy all of that or if he's just being a good teammate, but okay. There you go.
I thought when you mentioned Jay Cutler, you were going to talk about his victory in the Celebrity Pro-Am Cornhole Tournament on the 4th of July.
No.
Which is what he's up to these days.
No, because I could give two damns about that.
He's pretty good. I watched it.
Okay. Did he go down with a knee injury? Just checking.
No.
Just checking.
No, they were talking about him playing hurt, though.
Okay. There you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Apparently Aaron Rodgers does admit that there's going to be, quote, some growing pains about the offense. I don't know how long those growing pains will persist. But Aaron Rodgers saying that the defense he's pretty excited about. The growing pains of the offense, we'll have to wait and see. So that being said, there you go. So anyway, Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. What else did he have to say, Ben? Because I didn't get a chance to listen to it, obviously.
Nothing of note. There was a little piece of breaking news, though. He has been in Hungary over the last couple weeks.
Why did I know that? Oh, no. We saw he was in Switzerland.
Yes.
With the watch company.
What
was he in Hungary for?
He was talking about exploring the world's old dynasties.
Oh, geez. Okay.
We also learned that the watch brand is named Zenith, not Zenith.
Zenith?
Contrary to popular belief.
All right.
And yeah, he also said that people shouldn't talk about the players before they put shoulder pads on. He told everyone to take deep breaths before they crush guys.
Right. I understand that. You know, it's like, what was I reading? ESPN had said that there's a whole bubble list of players likely to be cut before the season gets underway. And one of those players was listed as Sammy Watkins. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think Sammy Watkins actually, knock on wood, he doesn't end up with an injury. I think Sammy Watkins can actually be a terrific player for Green Bay. Is he? First of all, he's got a working knowledge with one of the coaches who was with the Buffalo staff at the time he was there. Vrabel and him were both in Buffalo. So he's already got a working relationship in that sense. And then obviously he wants to play with Aaron Rodgers. That was stated. He's looking at this as a possible contract rejuvenation for him in the long run. So he wants to perform well. He's glad to have a quarterback that can put the ball on a string and put it in his breadbasket. He maybe statistically, I don't know if he's ever going to have his best year, but he can have this bounce back year where people go, okay, Sammy's not done. So there's money attached to this. I think barring injury, I think Sammy Watkins is in for a hell of a year. So I'm not going in the ESPN direction of Sammy Watkins is going to be cut unless he's a complete physical dismal failure. That's the only way it doesn't work out. Other than that, I think Sammy Watkins plays a key role in whatever this team does offensively. And what else did Rodgers say? Anything?
No, that's really it. He said the 3 young wide receivers, and I'm going through the audio, but there was a little bit of profanity. Said the 3 young wide receivers should trust the veterans, but physically they do look the part, as in fitting in.
Mm-hmm. They should trust the veterans. In other words, listen to my guy, Randall Cobb, because I'm not there to teach you. Is that what you would glean from that statement?
It's pretty close.
Okay. There you go. We'll have more of Aaron Rodgers coming up. In the meantime, another Packers quarterback, former Packers quarterback, Brett Favre, has, when asked, stated that, we hear about Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's getting $18 billion to go into the Fox booth. So now he becomes a little bit more higher paid than his wife. Other players, former players, have gone into the broadcast booth and made a lot of money, Troy Aikman being one of them, obviously. Tony Romo, obviously. Would Brett Favre have an interest of going into the broadcast booth and becoming, quote, an analyst? Here's what Favre had to say.
I guess my country accent cuts me out, the all shucks mentality. No, I'm good. I've made great money. I'm very thankful. If someone offered me a job to do Monday night or Thursday night football, and it would be a great deal, I would consider it. But it's not on my bucket list of things to do.
There you go. He's made great money. The joke then is, where did he make it? Was it from, his playing career or off of the state of Mississippi? But he has made great money. I don't think it's the golly gee, aw shucks mentality. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it's that. I think it's what you just heard right there. It is the putting the words together. Descriptiveness is not something that flows relatively easy. And honestly, I think Favre would demand and command a lot of money up front, and that might be money that some places are not willing to give up right away. I think that as well. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us? Do it. Hey, I've known this for a while. For those of you that like the Tomahawk Fall Ride up in Tomahawk, Wisconsin, coming up in September, I've known this for a while, but it's all out there and it's official now. I knew from Jesse and the guys at Jackal, but now it's been made official from the gangs at Bonnie and Clyde Gangster Park. Coming up that Saturday night, September 17th, Jackal and Bobby Friss. Jackal, 3 to 6 is the Bobby Friss band. Jackal comes up and plays later that night, 7 to 8:30. So, which is going to be just a banner night up there in Tomahawk, Wisconsin. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, the weather is good for that. But if you are heading up, get your tickets now to Gangsters Park, because that is going to be a blowout bash for Jackal, Bobby Friss band coming up on Saturday night, September 17th, for the Tomahawk Fall Ride at Gangsters Park. Looking forward to it a lot. 877-867-1670. Rick says Favre did some college radio and was not great. His statements were a little bit too much. Jeff says Favre would be a great NASCAR announcer with the Southern accent. I don't mind the Southern. I think the Southern accent adds a bit of likability and charm to a broadcast. I do. I don't care about it. We hear from Marty Stewart all the time when it comes to NASCAR, or others for that matter. I don't mind it. Not at all. That's not it. It's the ability to string words and sentences together to very quickly be able to paint a picture of what it is that is about to happen or what just happened. That's what that is. And Favre speaks deliberately, sometimes slowly, and sometimes scattered. Do I think that he knows it? Of course he knows it. He can look at it and know it. He was very good that way. He was very good that way. Is he a wordsmith savant like we'll say Rodgers is, or the way Tony Romo came out of the chute firing on all cylinders? I don't necessarily think so. I think Favre got it done in a different way. Favre got it done with sheer will. He got it done with strength of arm. He got it done with tenacity. You know, I just think he's a different quarterback mentally there. And I'm not saying he's dumb, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the ability to string the words together to become a color analyst, that's a difficult task. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it. I think some of the former players that currently do it are the high end guys are really good at it. So it doesn't mean I wouldn't mind hearing Favre in a broadcast booth. The one thing I would not want to hear, I would never want to hear Favre in a broadcast booth and have him struggle or sound bad. That's all. And Rick, you're right. I mean, the press conferences, Brett Favre, it was always funny because there would a list of questions you'd go in to ask Favre. You want to know this, you want to know that, you want, whatever. And you would start to ask your question, and you would ask one question. And Favre would basically conduct a press conference with himself the rest of the presser. He would talk about just whatever. He'd ask himself questions. And, do I think this? Sure, I do. And then he'd go on and talk about it. Do I feel like I should do this? Sure, I do. And no, I shouldn't do. No, yeah. And he would just go on. And you're like, what? Wait, what? We asked 2 questions. And an hour later, Favre's done. Last question, please. And that would be it. That'd be the end of it. Favre was very, very good at that. Coming back, we're going to hear Aaron Rodgers and some of the things that he had to say on the Pat McAfee Show today. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pindell, a quality machining manufacturing company right here in the state of Wisconsin. Go to PINDEL.com. That is Pindell.com. Again, Pindell.com. And they have not only got a great company that you can work with here in the state of Wisconsin, but great opportunities. It can become a career, not just a job, but a career. They're there to help you. They want to grow their employees. They want to grow their workforce, and they want to continue to pay better than everybody else. They want to bring you in with good benefits and help you really earn that career and be a part of something. So go to Pindell, Pindel.com. That is Pindell.com. Again, Pindell.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Want to make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of 500,000 in cash and prizes. To win, play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. Summer is even better at Potawatomi.
Welcome back. Going to hear from Aaron Rodgers coming up here in just a moment. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Hey, had a great time this past 4th of July, really, 3rd. Stopped over. Boy, they had a big turnout at Sloppy Joe's and Smoke on the Water. Smoke on the Water more so than anything over on Okauchee Lake to see the fireworks go off. But what a great venue now. They have opened up that downstairs at Smoke on the Water on Okauchee. It's right on Wisconsin Avenue, the old Bayside. Oh, Joe and Ellen Hennis have done a fantastic job. But Joe got a hold of me and said, because I had texted him, I said, man, what a great looking place. Holy mackerel. It looks great from the lake. It looks great from the water. He said, Bill, we need help. He said, it's just, I don't know where all the workforce went, but we need servers, we need bartenders, we need cooks, anybody looking for a job. They're relying on friends and family and people that have college kids, high school kids, but they're like, look, we're paying top dollar for these people. And you can't get anybody to even work. I said, you know what? We'll get the word out. So if you're looking for something, there you go. That's our friend at Joe and Ellen Hennis over there at Sloppy Joe's and Smoke on the Water, both places. Sloppy Joe's a little more established. Smoke on the Water, great place to work. A lot of fun, great environment, lake country. Why not? Head out there and say hi to Joe and Ellen and tell them we said howdy. Good stuff. So Aaron Rodgers talks about the young wide receiving core that the Green Bay Packers currently have.
Yeah, deep breaths. It's important for everybody involved. Deep breaths. There's a lot of people in football, can't just be our team, that love to crown or obliterate players without pads on. This guy is going to be the greatest thing ever in shorts and a helmet. This guy sucks, can't play at all, he's terrible, won't make the team. Every year, there's opinions that start coming out about players in helmets and shorts, and I would just say, let's just everybody take a nice, deep, long breath and trust the training camp time that we have, trust the coaching staff, trust the relationships that'll be formed and continue to be formed. Trust the guys in the room like Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb and Sammy Watkins to help these young guys out. Physically, though, they definitely looked the part. All three of them, all three of the guys we drafted, all have physical gifts. Obviously, the top two picks are bigger, Dobbs and Watson, but the 7th round pick got a lot of stuff to him. So I think it's going to be great. There's no better teacher for them on what NFL ball is going to be like than going against our top three corners, Jair, Eric Stokes, and obviously Rasul. So those guys will get a real quick initiation to the NFL. And I was joking with a couple of my buddies on the squad and in the personnel department and training room, and I said, could be a long training camp for the offense. I like the way our defense is looking and playing, and just on paper, it looks like they're going to be pretty formidable. So it could be some growing pains for the offense, which would be great for us. It'd be nice to take our lumps from time to time. I think it'll help us, get better and facing a really good defense like that.
So there you go. Aaron Rodgers saying, look, we're going to take some lumps. Now, what you have to hope for is that you're not taking lumps in the regular season, if that's what he means. Or do you mean that you're going to take some lumps and it's going to be early on preseason? You're going to have to go through the growing pains early on preseason and then kind of go from there. Were you getting the sense that he was setting fans up for some failure, Ben?
No.
See, I didn't. I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking that he was just basically saying, hey, look, it's going to be a little bit of a growing pain here, but just hang in there with us.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I think his overall message, obviously, this answer was very calculated. I think his overall message applies to both us as a public, football watching public, and himself with all these rookie wide receivers hinging on every single catch or every drop through the first, half of the season, half of the first season of their career is wrong. Like, to be patient with them. And he's saying he'll probably have to do that on the field as well, given what he's right. got at those spots. That's what I took away.
I would agree. I said all along that I thought the Christian Watson pick was interesting. And I've said that I thought Romeo Doubs might end up being the better of the two early on. Rick says he's right about not knowing anything until they play in pads. Angela says he's not wrong about people being quick to judge. I 100% agree. That's what we do. It's this is an opinion-based show. So we look at things, we say, okay, I think this guy's going to be good. This guy might not be. It's what drives talk radio. It's what drives fans. I mean, everybody asks each other. So what do you think of the Packers draft? So what do you think of Sammy Watkins? So what do you think of Jerron Reed? So what do you think of them letting Za'Darius go? Yeah, we all talk about it. It's the water cooler folly for fodder, I should say, for those of us that have an interest in Packers football. So we all have a judgment, whether or not we're right or wrong and willing to admit it one way or the other. That's where all of this comes in. But you don't crucify. The only guy that I said was a bad pick at a bad time was Jordan Love. Jordan Love could end up being an average to above average quarterback. But the timing of that pick will forever sit in the angst and lore of Packer history. It just will. You did not get yourself another Hall of Fame quarterback. That's my belief. So until I'm proven wrong, that's going to be my belief and somewhat my judgment. Yes. I was wrong on Rashawn Gary, but I was right. I was right in the sense that he's not Reggie White, but I was right that he was very strong upper body, had a great bull rush. Whether or not that could be sustained in the NFL, I did not know. He's proven me wrong because you can sustain it. Now, you hope he puts another season like that together. So in that sense, absolutely, you'll eat crow on that, without a doubt. I think he's really, and I'm looking forward to seeing him grow again this year because he's done it each and every year he's been in the league. So I'm excited about that. But when it comes to the wide receiving core, you just don't know. The other thing that Aaron did not discuss there is going to be his ability to throw them the ball. Whether or not his brain says, you got to do it. Or does he then find his favorite and lock on him? I think it's a different year. I think it's a different year. I think we are going to find out. This is my subplot to the season. This is my deep thinking philosophical subplot to the season. Was what was driving the train for Davante Adams to get balls thrown in his direction? Was it Aaron Rodgers and his comfort and his desire to hit the confident guy? Or was it Davante Adams saying, I need to get the ball, I need to get the ball, I need to get the ball, I need to get the ball. Otherwise, he would not be happy. Every receiver wants the ball, but if you're winning, it's all good. You want your stats, you want your money. But we will now see, because if Aaron Rodgers spreads it around to everybody and takes chances and throws it around and everything, then we're going to say, you know what? Going to be good to go. Maybe it was Davante Adams. Especially when we get to the postseason, Maybe it was. Who knows? Wait and see. 877-867-1670 coming up on Sunday, September 4th. I need you to participate, need you to come out and support it. And I cannot do it without you. We cannot do it without you. It's the Fisher House Ride, motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 4th, the 15th annual Big Unit Poker Run benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin. We leave Milwaukee Brewing Company, downtown 9th Street. We head to the Rock Complex, then to Alpine Valley, then into Knucklehead, and then up to Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. The first leg of this completely escorted by the police, and thanks to our friends at Milwaukee County Sheriffs and the Milwaukee Police Department who are going to be a part of this. Thanks to all of them for helping out. They've been so supportive in the years past, and we can't do it without them either. But we can't have this thing staged and have a great, big, grand group of people if you don't participate. You can sign up and get pre-registered right now. Follow all the details over at Big Unit Poker Run. Big Unit Poker Run on Facebook, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, or go to Fisher House, Wisconsin, fisherhousewi.org, fisherhousewi.org. Thanks to a lot of our great partners along with this. I already mentioned Milwaukee Brewing. I mentioned our friends over there at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Thanks to our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. They have been so good to us, came forth and said, hey, we want to be there to help you. They're great people. A lot going on down at Potawatomi as well. They've come up with some nice prizes for us as well. Thanks to Bud Light, who's been with us now for 15 years or more on this, but it's our 15th annual poker run on this. They've been there since the beginning. Our friends at Growth Law Firm, Growth, G-R-O-T-H, growthlaw.com. That is growthlaw.com. Protecting bikers' rights, been doing it for a long time, and one of the top 20 in the country at doing it, and they're right here in our own backyard. Also at Great Lakes Dragaway, which was a really hot spot, literally, over the weekend down in Union Grove, Wisconsin, down in Racine, Kenosha, and they had some great drag racing going on down there, and they continue to do it all throughout the drag racing season. And then our newest one that came on was Buzzard Billy's out there in La Crosse. And if you're going to be out and about and support, the bikers like we do, support them as well, because they're helping us support the veterans. So stop in, give the bartenders and give the staff over there a high five. Say nice job, and thanks for coming on board and helping our on-site broadcasts and also helping us support the veterans as well. So thanks to Buzzard Billy's out in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Kudos to them for coming on board together as well. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. A couple more segments yet to go coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
That you could make. But yeah, today is National Chicken Day. National Fried Chicken Day. There you go. I don't know. The Brewers got their power hitting first baseman who's a big bird. I don't know. I don't even know how to correlate that into something with Rowdy Tellez being acquired by the Brewers 1 year ago today as well. So oh man. Fred says, how long do we hear that Rodgers and or LaFleur state that we're not on the same page? I hope I don't hear it at all. I get it if you say, hey, we weren't on the same page in that play. Okay, that's forgivable. You understand that. That happens. Happens to everybody. No big deal. But do I want to hear that continuously or say, yeah, we're not on the same page yet? Oh my God, don't say that. That would be catastrophic in the Bill Michaels sense. That would be an opportunity to absolutely positively blow you up. So no, I hope I don't hear that at all. That would be awful if they stated that. Let's put it that way. This is from Barb. Barb says, yeah, how did you not know it was National Chicken Day? Barb, I don't know. I don't follow what national day it is. Well, I guess we should put something on every day to see what the day is, because it seemed to be national something or some kind of ode to day damn near every day now. Everybody's got their own day. Everything's got their own day. There's probably 10 other things that are national whatever day today as well. It just is. You know? Ben, is there a site that tells us what day it is every day?
Oh, I'm sure there's one out there. I don't know if I want to. That sounds like a lot of work, Bill, honestly. You know?
I know,
I'm trying
right?
to keep up with where Aaron Rodgers is traveling during his off time. I can't also see when, National Grilled Cheese Day is.
Let's see here. Here we go. July 6th. Today is National Fried Chicken Day and National Hand Roll Day. National Hand Roll Day.
I really don't care.
With the freshest flavor and style, the day encourages us to explore our senses by experiencing one of sushi's culinary pleasures on National Hand Roll Day. And they actually wrote it out phonetically. How to observe National Hand Roll Day. If you've never had a hand roll, July 6th is the day for you to try it. Head out to your freshest and favorite sushi restaurant and bring friends. Better yet, make your own with a sushi making kit. I do like sushi. Enjoy it as a meal or an appetizer. Tomorrow, though, Ben, it's right up. It's right up our alley tomorrow. 2 different ways. First of all, National Marconi Day. Or no, excuse me. I'm sorry. Okay, I lied. It's Macaroni Day. I thought Marconi was for journalistic integrity. Instead, it's Macaroni Day. Okay, I misreported that already. Tomorrow is National Macaroni Day. Tomorrow is National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Together Day. Tomorrow is National Strawberry Sundae Day. Thank God for that. But, Ben, tomorrow is National Dive Bar Day. We should be doing the show from a dive bar tomorrow. Then you've got National Chocolate with Almonds Day, Car Collector Appreciation Day, National Freezer Pop Day, National Dimple Day, National Sugar Cookie Day, Chronic Disease Day on July 10th. What the hell?
Oh, man.
Chronic Disease Day. Chronic Disease Day also coincides with the exact same day of National Pina Colada Day. Oh, 2 things that go together is a pina colada with a chronic disease. There you go. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Okay, I'm done. Because this is as stupid gets. Who comes up with this crap? There is actually a National Beans and Franks Day. Barbershop Quartet Music Appreciation Day. Yeah. National Grand Marnier Day. Mac and Cheese Day. Now, you would figure mac and cheese would actually be on the Macaroni Day, but it's not. Mac and cheese has its own day. July 14th. Thank God I'm not here for this day. National Nude Day. Go all natural.
He has his hose out.
Whip your hose out. Mike Clemens on the 14th of July should be hosting the program from Parts Unknown with Parts Unknown, a bear. Oh, my God. There you go. There's National Corn Fritters Day. Toss away the could have, should have day. This is so dumb, but so fascinating. But I expect a full report on the 15th about what happens on July 4th. Ben, the minute we mention National Nude Day, here come the porn bots. Here come the porn bots over on the Bud Light live stream. Here come the porn bots.
Yes!
There you go. The porn bots have made their way into the programming. Oh, my goodness. Just almost on cue. Here come the porn bots.
I think we just got to the bottom of it, Bill. I think every time we see them come for a word.
Yeah, every time we see the word naked or say it.
You started it.
Yeah, it happens. Porn bots show up. God. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
There you go. The porn bots show up. Okay. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free to do so. Be careful if you're on the Bud Light live stream, you're watching and the porn bots get you because you can end up with herpes all over your computer. So be careful not to click on any of that stuff because it does happen every now and then. It can end up in the fingertips or any place else. So be careful. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. One full segment of crap left. Stick around. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
With the national days that are out there, Ben, are you going to enter your grandmother in the Gorgeous Grandma Day on July 23rd? Which happens to coincide with the same day of the National Day of the Cowboy.
Thank God this is the last segment.
Yeah. There's National Amelia Earhart Day. Tequila Day resides the same day, by the way. Didn't know that. There's all kinds of just weird stuff. You got to go to one of these sites. It's the nationaldaycalendar.com. Nationaldaycalendar.com. And you can go and look at all this different stuff. It is just mind-boggling that we have a national day for damn near everything. There's Hot Dog Day, which does not coincide with Chili Dog Day, by the way. And there's a National Junk Food Day and Cheesecake Day. I can't wait for those days in studio. We got to have like cheesecakes and junk food and candy and all kinds of crap. So there you go. Looking forward to that. But I want a full report after next July 14th, next week, to see what happens. It's National Nude Day.
I'll let Ebo know.
Yeah.
And they can cover that on the morning show. Then I'll just take whatever doesn't get them fired and replay it.
Okay. Let them know about that. I could do a Facebook Live from the deck of the house out by the lake.
Please don't.
That would coincide with National Fishing Day, since there would be a worm in. Can't even say it. Oh my God. Here's something you don't hear every day. There was a women's soccer player, the Barbara Banda, the rising star in women's soccer, captain of Zambia's national team. And also plays for the Chinese club, the Shanghai club, not available this past weekend to play in the AFCON opener, AFCON, the AFCON opener. Couldn't figure out why. They said some medical reasons. So they said, okay, she had to be sick. Turns out, nope, she could be a dude. Reports emerged pre-tournament that she's got natural testosterone levels that well exceed the set limits by the governing bodies, and apparently they said, wait a minute, she could have some gender issues here we didn't know about. Just an FYI. Just throwing it out there. Today's day and age. Got to pay attention. 877-867. That just draws silence, doesn't it? What do you think of that, Ben? Just one day you wake up and you're like on your way to the soccer park, and next thing you know, you're a dude. Just not what you were thinking, I would assume.
No comment.
I'm like, how does that happen? How does nobody know that? But apparently it happened. Oh, well. Also, the president of the United States has issued a letter to Brittany Griner's wife saying they're doing everything they can to get her out of the Russian prison, by the way. Brittany Griner wrote that emotional letter to President Biden, begging him for help. Don't know what the specifics are of all of that as of yet, but she is still being held. And if found guilty, in that Russian court. She could be there a long, long, long time. So we'll see. But it's not playing in the WNBA, that's for sure. This one is from Boondog. Boondog says, how do you play soccer all these years under the guise that you are a woman only to find out one day after a test that you're not? I have no idea. Look, I brought it up because it was just a different story that just all of a sudden she had high testosterone levels. They didn't know why. Could be a dude. Don't know. I don't go any further than that. I bring you the information. What you do with it after the fact is completely and utterly up to you. It's just like the national days.
And I peed myself.
And I pee myself occasionally. It can happen. Okay? Just wanted to throw it out there. Brent says, if Aaron Rodgers says that he's not on the same page with those young wide receivers, will you have a brain aneurysm meltdown like you had earlier this year on the program? Brent, I don't know. It happens every now and then. Sometimes things need to be said. We'll see. It just depends on the moment, the mood, the circumstance, the passion involved. Like I said, during the regular season, there's certain things you can and cannot say. This year during the regular season, as much as I want to analyze the regular season and I want it to matter, and I do, this season to me is all about the postseason. Just is. All about the postseason. 100%. And Scott says, going to the Brewers games over the weekend. Nope, Scott, not going to be there. Going to be on vacation. Starting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. See ya. Gonski. Got a couple of friends staying at the house, and that's it. Out of town. Off to parts unknown. What is this? Joe Slim 83 says that is straight up from dodgeball. Straight up. When you're talking about the test for the higher testosterone level, not knowing if it's a dude, gotcha. Joe Slim 83, you are correct. There you go. Oh, my goodness. What a day. What a way to end the day. And this one's last but not least, and this is from Bet, B-E-T-T, that says, what is the next product that Mike Clemens is going to review? Can't wait. We don't know. We talked about the potty putter, and then things really fell off the rails on Friday after that. We have not revisited that, so maybe we'll do that during football season. We'll wait and see. That's it. And, yes, we did shut down the porn bots, at least that round of them. But they do show up occasionally. Porn bots are like herpes, man. Every now and then they just pop up. You don't know when they're going to pop up, but they do. That'll do it. Ben, is there anything we didn't cover today? I think we pretty much got all of it, right?
One would hope.
For an enthusiastic Ben Kenny, I'm Bill Michaels. Time for us to get out of here. Have a great one till we talk again.